Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Ninja School Teacher, I Can Become Stronger by Teaching. Chapter 81. Before leaving with Asuma, Muyu gave Sarutobi Hiruzen an appraisal. He was curious about how rich the skills of a ninjutsu professor who claimed to be proficient in all ninjutsu in Konoha would be. Name: Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chakra: 170,000. Skills: Combination Ninjutsu Mastery: 13,000 15,000. Fire Attribute Chakra Nature Change Mastery: 6,200 15,000. Earth Attribute Chakra Nature Change Mastery: 3,000 15,000. Water Attribute Chakra Nature Change Mastery: 2,400 15,000. Sarutobi Hiruzen's skill bar is indeed long enough and densely packed. Muyu did a rough calculation and estimated that there are thousands of ninjutsu. Judging from the quantity, ninjutsu professor deserves the title. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen does not have the Sharingan to copy, so he has to practice it one by one. However, the proficiency level of most ninjutsu is actually only at entry level in proficiency, and there are relatively few mastery levels. But Muyu thought it was very abnormal. He saw many familiar advanced ninjutsu and even secret techniques above. In terms of nature changes, Sarutobi Hiruzen's 5 basic attributes have all reached the proficiency level, but the proficiency is different. The fire attribute is the highest, and the others are lower. It seems that the mastery level of the system is more valuable than I thought. Muyu thought in her mind. In terms of the change level of chakra properties of water and fire alone, he is higher than Sarutobi Hiruzen. Of course, in an actual fight, he would be instantly killed by the current Hiruzen Sarutobi, because with his chakra, physical skills, combat experience, and even ninjutsu configuration, Hiruzen Sarutobi would be able to crush him. After looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen's panel, Muyu realized what a true all-round ninja is. Ninjutsu, physical techniques, illusions, sealing techniques, secret techniques, forbidden techniques and many other techniques can be used by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Found on the slashing skill bar. As for Sarutobi Hiruzen's panel, Muyu can only say that he has a bad opinion. After teaching Asuma, Muyu returned to the main city of Konoha, called Minato and Kushina, and showed them the entire process of making magic Mapo tofu. Kushina and Minato also got their wish and saw how soybeans turned into meat. Even after watching the cooking process and tasting the taste, Kushina still felt amazing. How on earth did Muyu think that soybeans could be made into meat? Kushina couldn't help but ask. An accidental whim, Muyu thought for a while and said. He couldn't say that these dishes were taught to him by others, which would expose even more flaws. He could only shamelessly say that he developed them himself. Minato then asked Muyu about the progress of her sealing technique. It had been almost a week since the last time she was given a sealing technique. Muyu expressed some of her thoughts after seeing the 5-finger seal. The 5-finger seal is much more difficult than the 3-finger seal. You can slowly learn it by reading more about sealing techniques and practicing more frequently. Minato explained. The 5-finger seal is different from the previous 1-finger seal and 3-finger seal, and the difficulty has increased significantly. Minato is worried that Muyu will question himself because of the long-term lack of progress. Muyu nodded, and naturally brought the topic to the sealing technique, and talked about some of the problems she encountered in the sealing technique. What Muyu asked was not about the specific practice of a certain sealing technique, but some questions about the knowledge of sealing techniques. If he had asked the question he was currently encountering on the 5-finger seal, based on the sealing skills of Kushina and Minato, he could directly guess his actual training progress. The disciples did not come to practice with him on weekend nights. Muyu practiced alone in the southern forest. 5-finger seal. Muyu concentrated chakra on the 5 fingers of her right hand and patted it towards her shadow clone. Black sealing lines appeared on the body of the shadow clone, and the spell was successfully performed. Next, you can practice the 5 elements seal. Muyu thought in her mind as she looked at the 5-finger seal that had been introduced on the panel. After completing the 5-finger seal training, he could barely be considered a sealing ninja, although he was currently a sealing ninja who did not know any formal sealing techniques. But Muyu didn't care. He learned the sealing technique not to expand his skill library, but to solve the problem of the tongue-eradicating seal. After getting started with the 5 elements seal, he will directly use the proficiency scroll to upgrade to the proficiency level, then learn the contract seal, and then upgrade the contract seal to the proficiency level. Once he is proficient in both sealing techniques, he will have a lot more knowledge about sealing techniques, and then he can try to study the root curse seal. Miu Yu walked deep into the forest while using the perception ninjutsu. Today he wanted to test how far his ultimate strength could reach. It has been a month since he obtained the mastery level Breath of Rock. As long as you get started with the breathing method, you can greatly improve your abilities by performing full concentration breathing, while Chong Zhang, a skilled level practitioner, maintains his body in a weakened version of full concentration breathing for 24 hours. For Miu Yu, regular exercise is very important, because it means that his body is exercising all the time. Within a month, Miu Yu could clearly feel that his body was gradually getting stronger, and the effect was much better than his own physical training. Even because his body has become stronger, Chakra's natural growth rate has become a little faster. As her body gradually became stronger, Miu Yu was ready to try the combination of 8-gate Dunjia and Yan's breathing. He has mastered the first 3 doors of the 8 doors Dunjia. The first 3 doors are the safe zone of the 8 doors Dunjia and will not put too much pressure on the body. Open the door, open it. Miu Yu didn't have the mastery of the 8-door Dunjia that Metkai had in the plot, so he could only open it slowly from the first door. With the use of 8-door Dunjia, Miu Yu felt that a certain restriction in her body was opened, the restricted chakra surged out, her body gradually became stronger, and her strength and speed were greatly improved. When Miu Yu opened the 3rd disciple gate, Miu Yu's body was already congested and turned red, the chakra on her body increased sharply, and she was exuding green energy. Miu Yu gave herself an appraisal when she was in the 3rd door state. Name: Hanyu Muyu. Chakra: 23,200. The chakra directly exceeded 20,000, but Miu Yu could feel that the chakra in his body was extremely violent at this moment, and he could no longer complete any delicate operations or release ninjutsu. However, Miu Yu had already expected it. He took a deep breath, inhaled a large amount of oxygen into his body and entered the fully concentrated breathing state of rock breath, and his physical fitness was once again improved in all aspects. Miu Yu punched out randomly, and the air shock wave driven by the punch alone overwhelmed more than a dozen big trees. There is no need to use chakra blessing, the stone is as breakable as tofu in his hands. The running speed is almost like using the teleportation technique. Miu Yu exhaled a breath of white air to release the 8-gate Dunjia in the state of concentrated breathing, and a violent feeling of fatigue came over her. The breath of the 8-gate Dunjia superimposed rock has indeed improved amazingly. Miu Yu did not dare to use too much force, fearing that too much movement would attract Anbu ninjas or root ninjas. However, it is strong, and the burden on the body is really great. Miu Yu felt very tired after only 3 minutes. This was still a situation where the stripes were not used. Miu Yu felt that if she had opened the stripes just now, she might have fainted immediately after the stripes were removed. After this experiment, his conjecture was proved. The breath of rock is indeed a good match for the 8-gate Dunjia and can increase the upper limit. With one more explosive trump card, Miu Yu's sense of security increased slightly. Now, apart from not having much chakra and little combat experience, he already has quite a few tricks up his sleeve. The training plan is almost complete, and the disciples can start practicing the breathing method. Miu Yu thought in her heart. On Sunday morning, Miu Yu went to the southern forest as usual, preparing to start a new round of teaching. However, he did not start teaching breathing techniques immediately. Instead, he first asked Metkai and Obito to compete in today's running competition. Yesterday, he used the appraisal technique to check the progress of Obito's shaving. He was almost getting started. He should be almost done with his hard work today. Today I'm going to change the rules a little. The winners will be exempted from the questions and will be added to the losers. Miu Yu said with a smile. Then the loser will have to answer 80 questions at most. Obito was already a little panicked. According to Miu Yu's new rules, if the winner is exempted from all questions and the loser fails to break through the limit, he or she will receive 80 questions. It's not that he has never won before, but if he wins less, he loses more. If this rule is changed, the questions will be doubled. Hearing Miu Yu's words, even a thin layer of sweat appeared on Metkai's forehead. He won a lot, but he didn't always lose. This is a special event on Sunday. After today, the rules will remain the same as before. Yu explained. Obito and Metkai both breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was only one day. If everything was like this in the future, it would be too stressful. Although they had experienced the days of battling hundreds of questions before, those hard days had passed for some time, and they had buried them deep in their memories and did not want to touch them. Why is there such a special event today? Is today a special day? Obito asked in confusion. Because today is the 111th anniversary of my becoming a teacher. Yu replied. Although it was a perfunctory statement, today was indeed his 111th day as a teacher, and it was also the 111th day that he traveled to the world of Naruto. Okay, let's get ready to start the game, Yu said. Obito and Metkai quickly completed their warm-up exercises and stood at the starting point designated by Muyu. Obito, come on, Nohara Rin, who was practicing on the side, smiled and cheered Obito up. I defeated Kai in all practical tests, so there will be no surprises in this competition. Obito showed a confident smile. There are 80 questions, and Lin is watching from the side. I can't lose this time. Obito thought silently in his heart. Ready, go, whoosh. As soon as Muyu finished speaking, Obito burst out with chakra and rushed out, making a super start. With the pressure of 80 questions, Metkai was also very motivated and also started directly with Super Shave. Feeling the sound of running getting louder and louder, Obito's heart became more and more urgent. He gritted his teeth and ran, using the shaver again regardless of the fatigue of his leg muscles. But in a competition of wills, Metkai would not admit defeat. Seeing Obito begin to accelerate, Metkai also mustered up his strength and began to accelerate, chasing Obito's back at high speed. He is physically stronger than Obito, and he has already shaved his head, so as long as he is close to Obito, Obito basically loses. As the finish line gets closer and closer, the distance between Metkai and Obito is also getting closer. Whoosh! Seeing that he was close to the end, Metkai immediately started sprinting mode, his figure disappeared on the spot, and he suddenly made a lot of progress. Obito also started sprinting, using his shave that he had not yet fully learned to charge towards the finish line. The distance between the two was getting closer and closer, and Obito could already see a flash of fast-moving green in his peripheral vision, which was none other than Metkai in tights. I'm going to suffer. Obito suddenly felt bad. He knew that Metkai must have made some progress this time. We must not lose. Obito poured all his strength into his legs and ran with all his strength. Shave. The two of them used shave at the same time, and their bodies disappeared from where they were. Who won? Nohara Lin felt that their figures suddenly blurred, and then they appeared together at the finish line the next moment. Obito wins. Akai has 70 questions. Yu announced the result. In the final sprint, Obito completely learned how to shave, mastered the technique of triple superposition, and won the game by relying on the advantage of being closer. Hufufu. Obito collapsed on the ground and gasped for air. He felt his chest was burning, and even his breath was hot. Although he was very tired, Obito was very happy. This was 80 fewer questions, which was equivalent to losing twice less, and he also won in front of Nohara Rin. Thinking of Nohara Rin's presence, Obito stood up tremblingly, no matter how tired his legs were. Obito, can you rest a little longer? Nohara Rin asked with concern. It's okay. It's okay to just run a short distance, Obito said, pretending to be relaxed, controlling his legs not to tremble. It turns out that the distance is a bit short, so let's double it tomorrow. Yu smiled with a look of realization. Obito, it turns out that you still have some energy left, so let's run together again. I feel that I still have room for improvement. Metkai temporarily suppressed his fear of the question and said with enthusiasm. Regardless of the fact that he has to do the questions, Metkai really likes this kind of competition. Although he lost just now, he did make progress. Obito didn't know for a moment whether Metkai was trying to undermine him or if he really wanted to run with him again. Actually, I just used literary writing techniques. You misunderstood what I meant. Obito tried to fool him. Nohara Rin pointed out the attack again and poked Obito's thigh with her finger. Obito's thigh trembled uncontrollably. Don't be brave, Obito. You're already shaking like this. If we double the distance, you'll be too tired to get up. Nohara Lin sighed. Obito felt tired for a while, and had the idea that everything would be destroyed because he was tired. He just wanted to show off in front of Nohara Lin. Why was it so difficult? Okay, let's take a rest and prepare to learn new ninjutsu. What I'm going to teach you this time is a very difficult secret technique. You must learn it seriously. Miu Yu said. A secret technique that is extremely difficult. Isn't that very powerful? Obito suddenly became more energetic. Generally, the more difficult the ninjutsu is, the more powerful it is. Yes, it is difficult to learn, but if you learn it, your strength will be greatly enhanced. Miu Yu nodded. The breathing technique has great power after being localized, and it is also extremely difficult. According to Naruto's classification, his two existing breathing techniques are both S-level forbidden techniques. Especially the breath of the rock, which is extremely difficult to practice, is almost the same as the 8-gate Dunjia. You can only practice hard and grind it out. Teacher, should I learn it too? I'm a bit slow in learning ninjutsu. Metkai scratched his head and asked. His ninjutsu talent is a bit poor, and he has a hard time learning the three-body jutsu. You have to learn, but you learn differently from them. Anyway, just believe that you can learn it yourself. Miu Yu replied. After the two of them finished resting, Miu Yu called Shisui again and was about to start teaching breathing techniques. Shisui and Obito, you two learn the breath of fire, and Kai, you learn the breath of rock. Miu Yu said the name of the ninjutsu they were going to learn next. Since Miu Yu had previously reminded that what he was going to teach this time was difficult to learn seriously, even the most out-of-the-box Obito didn't say anything and listened carefully to Miu Yu's lecture. Since the breathing of the rock is the most difficult to learn, Miu Yu first asked the shadow clones Shisui and Obito to explain the theoretical knowledge of breathing methods, while he started teaching Matkai the breathing of the rock first. The most important point of the breathing method is breathing. Breathing skillfully and fully concentrated can inhale a large amount of oxygen into every cell of the body, thereby increasing strength and speed in all aspects. Miu Yu explained the principle of the breathing method. If you can learn rock breathing and enter a state of concentrated breathing, not only will your strength increase, your body's healing speed will also increase, and your spirit will become more active. Once you can maintain concentrated breathing 24 hours a day, your body will become stronger several times faster than it is now. If you become more proficient in rock breathing, you will be on the path to becoming the strongest taijutsu ninja. Miu Yu described for Metkai a bright future of learning rock breathing. What a powerful technique, Metkai said in surprise with his eyes widened. It can actually double the effect of his physical training. What is the concept? Now, the effect that he can achieve after 3 years of practice may be achieved in 1 or 1.5 years after he learns regular training. This was too attractive for Metkai, who was preparing to go to the dark side on the road of taijutsu ninja. Akai, please stay away a little bit. Miu Yu was ready to demonstrate the true power of rock breath to Metkai. Breath of the rock, concentrate your breathing, point the gun. Miu Yu inhaled a large amount of oxygen into her body, stimulating the power of every cell, and finally poured it into her index finger. With the help of chakra, she tapped the river 80 meters away. Whoops! The powerful finger force directly set off a huge gust of wind, and a transparent shock wave flew quickly towards the river. The next moment, a huge explosion sounded. Boom! There was a huge roar in the river, and the waves caused by the explosion were more than 10 meters high, and some fish were even blown to the shore. There are big trees over 20 meters high everywhere here, but Miu Yu doesn't dare to use too much force on any tree that is shorter. This is the power that the breath of the rock can unleash with its concentrated breathing. Miu Yu put down her hand and said, "The destructive power is so strong." Metkai looked shocked. You must know that they are more than 80 meters away from the river. They can have such power at such a long distance. Who can withstand this finger? You will be stronger than this in the future. Miu Yu smiled and touched Metkai's head. Well, I will work hard to practice. Metkai was extremely excited at this time, and his mind was filled with the breathing method and Miu Yu's finger just now. Then let's start practicing. Stand still. Miu Yu began to teach formally. When Metkai heard Miu Yu's words, he straightened his chest and raised his head and stood at attention. Relax your upper body and inhale, and stand firm with your lower body. Miu Yu started the most basic and important breathing method. Metkai did as Miu Yu said, but Miu Yu shook her head and said, Breathe hard with your belly. Remember to press your belly hard, not open your mouth wide. Muyu then demonstrated it several times before asking Metkai to try again. Teacher, I sucked hard, but I didn't feel the feeling you said. Metkai scratched his head and said. Don't be anxious, just take your time and practice consistently. Muyu said with a gentle smile. Breathing of the rock is too difficult, and Muyu's requirement for Metkai is that if he can learn it within a year, it will be considered a success. Metkai nodded and continued practicing according to the method Muyu said. Separating a shadow clone on Metkai's side, Muyu went to Obito and Shisui. Teacher Muyu, is the move you just used the one Kai wants to learn? It feels so strong. Obito asked with excitement as soon as Muyu's body came over. They were not far away, and Muyu's move made a lot of noise, so they saw it too. That's right, I just used a physical technique while breathing with full concentration of rock breath. Muyu nodded and said. It would be great if a Kai learned the breath of the rock. Obito sighed, just a physical technique has such power. Don't worry, the breath of fire you are going to practice is no worse than the breath of rock practiced by a Kai, and it can also greatly improve your strength. Muyu said with a smile. Both breathing techniques are considered top-level forbidden techniques, and it can only be said that they depend on the level of the user. Teacher Muyu, please show us the power of the breath of fire. Obito looked at Muyu expectantly. Even Shisui looked curious. Of course Muyu would not refuse such a small request from his disciple. He changed his breathing rhythm, switching from the normal breathing of rock to the normal breathing of fire, and walked towards the river. When you have learned the breath of fire, take the full concentrated breath of fire to increase the speed of the change in the nature of the fire attribute chakra and enhance the power of the fire. If you can maintain concentrated breathing uninterrupted throughout the day, then the two effects of accelerated property change and enhanced flame power will be normalized, and you will have stronger explosive power. Muyu said while preparing to use ninjutsu. Accelerate the nature change and make the flame stronger. Zishui was directly shocked by Muyu's words. Only after he was good at theoretical knowledge did he know what Muyu meant by these two things, which was a crude and simple increase in the upper limit of fire escape. At the same time, it can also enhance physical strength and recovery ability to a certain extent. Muyu continued, these are all abilities that the breathing method has. When she reached the river, Muyu directly formed seals and used ninjutsu. Fire release. Fire dragon flame bullet. Muyu opened her mouth and spit out a large flame that was dancing like a wild dragon. The flames divided into 3 directions, front, left and right, and rushed towards the river. For a time, a sea of fire more than 20 meters directly covered the river. Live. Large swaths of flames fell into the water, and water vapor continued to be generated. A large amount of white mist shrouded the surroundings. Muyu used wind escape to blow away the water vapor. In fact, Muyu has stronger ninjutsu. Whether it is the proficient level 2Q or the Great Fire Slayer, they are more powerful than the Fire Dragon flame bullets. But the range of those two ninjutsu was too large, and Muyu's burning might have burned down the nearby forest. So strong, I really want to learn. Obito said honestly. Isn't this breath of fire an S-level forbidden technique? Zishui was very surprised. Muyu's strength became more and more confusing in his mind. Whenever he felt what Muyu's strength was that he guessed, Muyu would always come up with something new that shocked him. Then study hard. The breathing method is difficult to learn, and the learning process is not easy. Muyu said with a serious look on her face. Although the breath of fire is a little easier to learn than the breath of rock, that is relatively speaking, and the actual difficulty is also quite high. The meaning of the breathing method is greater than any ninjutsu or taijutsu he has taught before. After demonstrating the power of fire escape under the breath of flame, Muyu also began to formally teach the two people how to practice the breath of flame. Stand straight, relax your upper body and stand firm with your lower body. Use your belly to breathe, allowing oxygen to enter the body and into the chakra acupuncture points and meridians. The difference between breath of fire and breath of rock appears. Breath of rock mainly strengthens the strength of the whole body, and everything else is secondary. Breath of fire focuses on interacting with chakra to enhance the power of fire release. Hufufu. Obito opened his mouth wide and sucked in the air. Boom. Muyu brought her 2 fingers together and hit Obito on the head, then lightly slashed Obito's abdomen with the knife and said, "Pay attention to the abdominal force, not to open your mouth wide and inhale randomly. Pay attention to the rhythm and technique." Obito was a little confused. He didn't expect it to be so difficult to breathe. Shisui, who usually mastered ninjutsu quickly, also encountered difficulties with breathing techniques and could not find the key. However, these are all within Muyu's expectations. Good talent has its limits. During the process, Muyu ran in both directions, taught one side for an hour and then went to the other side to repeat the cycle. After a morning passed, the proficiency of the 3 disciples in the breathing method was still 0, which profoundly made Muyu aware of the difficulty of the breathing method. At noon, Muyu returned to her home in the main city of Konoha to find the students' strength test materials and put them away, and then took them away when it was time for tutoring. Maybe it was because Muyu said she wanted to send information, or maybe Sarutobi Hiruzen was not busy recently, so Muyu met Sarutobi Hiruzen again. "Sandame-sama." Muyu greeted Hiruzen Sarutobi, and then handed over the packed information. "This is the material for the student's strength test," Muyu explained. "Well, I'm sorry to trouble you, Muyu." Sarutobi Hiruzen took out the information and looked through it with a smile. The information was compiled by Muyu. The top ones are the results of the group test at the beginning of the special training, and the following are the results of each week's strength test. There are also scoring standards marked on the score sheet. For example, Group C and Group B are the scoring standards for 4th-year students, while Group A is the scoring standard for graduating ninjas. The 3rd generation took a general look and found from the data that after 3 weeks of special training, all students had made considerable progress. If Muyu had not falsified data, then this special training must have been a very successful one, and it also proved Muyu's teaching ability. This time it is not as simple as a class. The special training students include all 4th-year students, outstanding students from 1st to 3rd-year students, and a small number of graduated genin. The total number of students exceeds 300. "Muyu, you did a good job, thank you for your hard work," Sarutobi Hiruzen praised. "The students have also worked hard in cultivation, and it's not just my fault," Muyu said modestly. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded with satisfaction, and then said with a smile, "I will go over and take a look when your special training is undergoing the final test. I shouldn't disturb you, right?" "No trouble. If they knew that you were coming, 3rd generation, the students would be very excited," Muyu said with a smile. To be honest, although Sarutobi Hiruzen had a bad reputation in his previous life, Sarutobi Hiruzen is not bad in Konoha. After all, he has been the Hokage for decades. After reporting to her biggest boss, Muyu took Asuma to practice. "Oh, Teacher Muyu really shouldn't have let the old man pass," Asuma sighed during the break. "Once Sarutobi Hiruzen is gone, it will be useless for him, Sarutobi Asuma, no matter how good his grades are, because he is the son of the 3rd generation and it is expected that he will have good grades." "Asuma, have you forgotten what I said before? Don't care about other people's opinions. You don't live for others, but for yourself." Muyu began the therapy. After drinking all kinds of chicken soup, Asuma regained her strength and began to practice more seriously. On Monday, Muyu told the students of the special summer training that the 3rd Hokage would come to visit their final exam. The students immediately became excited. This was the Sandame Hokage. The ninja school randomly picked up 10 students and asked them about their dreams. 8 out of 10 students would dream of becoming Hokage. Of course, they would be very excited if they had the opportunity to contact the current Hokage. "Even the Sandame-sama is here, Azumo, this is a good time for us to become famous in Konoha," Gangziti said with excitement. "Indeed, if we can make the Sandame-sama remember our names, we will be able to achieve great success in the future." Kamizuki Azumo nodded and said, equally excited, "You should save your time and go on 1 round and 1 on 2. Even if Hokage-sama comes, he won't notice you." Enko complained, even she felt that this was unrealistic. "A big shot like the Sandame-sama will definitely be able to see through that Azumo and I are just rough jade. People like you who can only use brute force will never understand." Ichinu's Gangziti counterattacked. Kamizuki Azumo nodded in agreement. "Then I'll let you 2 rough jade know the power of brute force." Hongdu punched the 2 of them hard and fled. After Yuhi Hong heard the news, She practiced more diligently, wanting to improve her strength as much as possible, so as not to be easily defeated by the students at school like last time. After Obito learned the news, he immediately thought about the future. If the Sandaime-sama saw my outstanding performance, wouldn't he praise my potential to become Hokage? Ha ha ha. Obito laughed, ignoring the looks of the people around him. Oops, it would be terrible if Gangzati and Izumo Kamizuki talked nonsense again. Ebisu felt that he should remind his two younger brothers before the exam. If that kind of news reached the Hokage's ears, his ninja career would be over before it even began. Everyone, be quiet and continue practicing. Let the Sandaime-sama see your progress. Miyu smiled gently, watching all the students' emotions being aroused, and nodded secretly in her heart. Although the summer special training is not long, only 5 weeks, it actually takes a lot of time to practice. It takes more than 40 hours a week. With the experience of one class a year, Miyu feels that he can trigger an improvement reward. Miyu's only worry was that he almost missed the trigger, so he tried his best to make everyone practice diligently. Anyone among you who has learned the teleportation technique should come forward. Miyu said to everyone in Group A. Jisui, Obito, Metkai, Asuma and others who had learned the teleportation technique walked out of the queue as Miyu said. In the last 2 weeks, in addition to basic training, the rest of the time will mainly focus on the practice of the instant body technique. Miyu said about the upcoming training arrangements. He said to the students who had learned the art of teleportation. Those of you who have already learned it can decide your own training during this part of the time. You can learn from me as usual, or you can practice according to your own ideas. The teleportation technique he wanted to teach was naturally not shaving, but the teleportation technique most widely spread in Konoha, which was the D-level taijutsu he had taught Shisui at the beginning. The status of this teleportation technique in Konoha is equivalent to the status of the three-body technique in ninja schools. It is a not difficult but very practical physical technique. Compared with those teleportation techniques with changed properties, such as water teleportation and lightning teleportation, the advantage of this D-level taijutsu teleportation technique is that it has low requirements and is easy to learn. It is very suitable for genin and chunin to learn, and even some junin. Still using it, very cost-effective. Miyu had previously asked students to undergo chakra control training to strengthen their bodies, which was also a preparation for learning the teleportation technique. The main purpose of using the instant body technique is to concentrate chakra on the soles of the feet and legs, and use chakra to strengthen the body to achieve the effect of high-speed movement. There are 2 key points here. One is that the body must be able to withstand the stimulation of chakra, and the other is to control the amount of chakra used. The body cannot withstand the high-speed movement brought about by chakra stimulation, which will cause losses to the body. During the battle, the body will quickly fatigue and the speed will be impaired. The soles of the feet are the most difficult part to condense chakra. It is not easy to condense chakra on the soles of the feet, let alone control the amount of output. If too much chakra is used, it will not only lead to a waste of chakra, but also influence the casting of spells. It turns out that they have mastered the art of teleportation. No wonder their speed suddenly changed when they were fighting. Shiranui Genma thought as he looked at the people walking out. The group of people who just walked out were basically the ones with better scores in the actual combat test. They were either graduated genin or strong current students. We must learn this teleportation technique as soon as possible, otherwise we will definitely not get good results in the final actual combat test. Ebisu said in his heart. Because of last week's incident, he had given up hope in ninja school life and turned to studying the future path of ninja. So he didn't want to be defeated in the first round when the third generation came to take the exam, so he should at least persist for 2 more rounds. After a brief explanation, Miyu began to teach the students. He first demonstrated the instant body technique several times, and then asked the students to practice according to what he just said, while Miyu guided them. When students make mistakes during practice, he will point them out aloud and then help them correct their mistakes. Miyu did not patronize Group A. He generally taught 3 groups in the order of ABC, and each group had shadow clones to assist. If the main body stays in a certain group, students in other groups will not be able to receive the blessing of the skills taught by him. Then Miyu went to Group B. The training progress of Group B is 1 level behind Group A. 3 weeks have passed and some people are still training on chakra control. However, this was also expected by Mu Yu. His requirements for Group B were only to complete chakra control training, strengthen physical skills, and improve the level of 3 body skills. If these goals are achieved, he is actually more qualified than many graduated genin. Some graduated genin have not even learned how to climb a tree. They have only learned the 3 kaya techniques, and their taijutsu are commonplace. After completing the chakra control training, you will not only have the ability to climb trees and tread water, but also lay the foundation for learning more ninjutsu in the future. No matter how strong the physical skills are, you can use the 3 body skills skillfully to play a role in the battle, to unexpected effects. Those who have not completed the chakra control training are still mainly practicing chakra control, while those who have completed the training are mainly practicing taijutsu and 3 body techniques, as well as various physical training. With high proficiency in the 3 body technique and coupled with the teaching skills, the students' proficiency in the 3 body technique increased rapidly. Mu Yu saw that some students' proficiency in the clone technique was above the entry-level 300 points. After teaching Group B the 3 body technique for a while, Mu Yu went to Group C. Group C is the group with the slowest progress and has just started chakra control training not long ago. This is also related to the composition of students in Group C. The students in Group C are either junior students or 4th grade students with average grades. These students either have a short training time, have not practiced well in the past and have not laid a good foundation, or simply have poor talent, so their progress will be much slower. It's not that Mu Yu doesn't want to teach more, it's just that she can only teach in this way. Bracing her head to make Group C keep up with the progress of Group AB will only have the effect of counterproductive. And after 3 weeks of study, some students have actually been promoted to Group B. The secret to climbing a tree is to find the subtle amount of chakra that can be absorbed on the tree, and then maintain it unchanged. Mu Yu walked up a big tree as if walking on the ground, talking about the techniques that had been mentioned countless times. Although the words are still the same, in fact, when you reach different stages of cultivation, you will have different feelings when you hear the same words. Hehe, Teacher Mu Yu, I should consider my training complete. Hongdu ran quickly on the tree, and after running vertically, he could also run horizontally. Well, you have completed the tree climbing training. Next, you will practice the substitution and transformation techniques. In the afternoon, you will start treading water practice. Mu Yu nodded. Hongdo has good ninja talent, and her learning speed is relatively fast among the 3 groups of students. You must know that Hongdo has just practiced for 1 semester, and it is very good to complete the tree climbing training so quickly while taking into account other exercises. Okay, Hongdu, who received Mu Yu's approval, jumped up and down the tree. After successfully completing the training, Hongdu did not forget his 2 good brothers, and ran directly to Shenyu Izumo and Gangziti, who were still testing the big tree, to point out. Don't be afraid of falling. Just concentrate the chakra on the soles of your feet, close your eyes and rush forward. Enko pointed out seriously. The corner of Gangziti's mouth twitched. If he really practiced according to Hongdu's method, he would have to live a life of being fed every moment. His legs would be broken, and he would still rush forward with his eyes closed. I am the teacher Mu Yu who personally commented that she has completed the training. Don't be ignorant, Hongdo said with a smile, taking revenge on the 2 scammers who deceived her into not reviewing. Alas, you and I have ended up like this. Shenyu Izuyun looked at Gangziti and said with a sad look on his face. If there was a theory test, how dare Hongdu's little thief and be so arrogant? Why didn't there be a theory test in the special training of Gangzitian? Otherwise, Hongdu's face-to-face output would not have been irrefutable. Encouraged by Hongdu, Gangziti and Shenyu Izuyun practiced harder. Mu Yu kept walking back and forth between the 3 groups until the end of get out of class. Complete a large class teaching. Evaluation. A. Rewards obtained. Wind release fire wind palm, thunder release Chidori. Looking at the system's rewards, Mu Yu's memory of Chidori appeared in her mind. Naruto has various Rasengans, and Sasuke also has various Chidori. This is also a relatively flexible ninjutsu. The rewards in the afternoon were a bit less interesting than those in the morning. They were just water escape and earth escape with ordinary power. But as a reward for 4 hours of class, Mu Yu thought it was quite good. At night, Mu continued to practice breathing techniques with Zishui, Metkai and the others. All three of them have not yet found the breathing feeling of the breathing method and are stuck in the initial breathing training. Remember, it's skillful breathing. It's either a big breath or a breathing technique. Mu kept emphasizing. Skills, skills, skills. Obito kept mumbling this word, trying to hypnotize himself to breathe skillfully. If you hint, just say it silently in your mind, don't say it out loud. Mu poked Obito's abdomen with her finger and said. Obito, who was in pain, opened his mouth wide and took in a breath of cold air. He never thought that breathing, something that people are born with, would have skills, and that it would be so difficult to learn. It is much more difficult than changing the nature of dragon fire and chakra. He didn't succeed in practicing dragon fire, but he was able to spit out some sparks. The nature of his practice changed slowly, and he could somewhat melt the ice cubes with the warmth of his hands. But while practicing the breathing method here, Obito felt like he was almost full from drinking the wind and didn't breathe anything. Obito feels that if this continues, he may not be able to learn the breathing method even if he has improved his fireball training by inhaling and exhaling. But Obito was relieved when he saw that Shisui had no clue. With Shisui like this, it seemed really difficult. Both Obito and Shisui who practiced the breath of fire were like this, not to mention the more difficult breath of rock on Metkai's side, and there was also no progress. But Mu on Metkai's side wasn't too worried. The rock's breath, which was as hardworking and persevering as a rock, suited Metkai very well. All he had to do was train as hard as he usually did. On the second day of practicing breathing, the three disciples still had zero proficiency. On the night of the third day, one of the disciples finally achieved Zero's breakthrough and gained some proficiency. It was Obito who practiced the breath of fire. Teacher Muyu, I seem to feel something different. Could it be that I know it? Obito suddenly said while practicing the breathing method. It doesn't count as learning, but it counts as officially entering the practice of breathing techniques. Muyu, who had been watching from the side, replied, and took a look at Obito's proficiency with an appraisal. Sure enough, it was no longer the Zero egg it was before. He thought it would be Shisui who would complete Zero's breakthrough first, but he didn't expect that it would be Obito. Muyu thought for a while and thought that it might be because Obito's personality was more suitable for Breath of Fire, so he caught the feeling first. Breath of Fire is suitable for practicing by people who are enthusiastic and cheerful, and their hearts are as blazing as fire. Shisui is not introverted, but he is far from passionate and fiery. Well, grab this feeling and keep going deeper. Once you're familiar with it, you can move on to the next training. Muyu nodded. This kind of breathing practice of exhaling and inhaling is just the beginning of the introduction, and there are many training links after that. The next training session is to guide breathing by adjusting body postures to achieve different strengthening effects. This link in the original breathing method is to train different breathing moves. After localization, you no longer need to hold a knife, so it becomes various strengthening effects. Because I am a beginner, I need specific postures to guide me. Once I learn it, I can control it freely in my body. Finally started formal practice. Obito couldn't help but waved his fist in celebration. After drinking the northwest wind for 3 days in a row, he finally got some feedback. Boom! Muyu tapped Obito's head with her fingers together, pointed at Shisui who was still practicing, and said, "Don't interfere with other people's practice, and get familiar with this feeling." Obito closed his mouth and nodded, and started practicing again with a satisfied smile. Shisui's talent is comparable to that of Kakashi, and he learned it before Shisui. Rounding it off doesn't mean he beat Kakashi once. At the end of the third day of training, Shisui and Metkai made no progress, and Obito caught a little bit of the feeling. During Wednesday's practice, Shisui kept doing various exercises and thinking about breathing techniques. This was really the first time he felt that he had no idea how to start with something. During the break, Shisui saw Obito and Asuma bragging about each other's fire escape. After thinking about it, he walked to Obito's side and asked, "Obito, can you describe in detail the feeling of breathing?" Obito recalled for a while, and then began to describe. It's like eating a bowl of hot ramen, and a warm air flows into the whole body. Obito worked hard to describe his feelings, supplemented by body language explanations. I feel a stream of heat. Shisui looked thoughtful. Asuma next to him was a little confused. He felt that the conversation between the two was completely wrong, especially Obito, who had no idea what he was talking about. Asuma didn't pay attention to this little episode. When he saw Yuhi Kurenai starting to practice again, he also ran over to practice. Next, Shisui kept thinking about Obito's answer, trying to get some inspiration from it. When he went home for dinner after class, Shisui was thinking about whether to eat ramen today. Shisui, why do you occasionally feel pain in your feet when using the teleportation technique? Uchiha Tiehuo asked when he saw Shisui. I didn't feel the warm air. Shisui answered in a way that made him feel mindless. Just when Uchiha Tiehuo was confused, Shisui changed his words again and said, it should be that the amount of chakra in your feet was not controlled well, which caused the injury to your feet. So that's it. What was Shisui-chin thinking just now? I asked you twice before you answered. Uchiha Tiehuo asked curiously. I'm thinking about training, Uchiha Shisui replied. It's no wonder that those genin who have graduated are no match for you. You are already so strong and you are still thinking about training all the time. Uchiha Tiehuo sighed. He was a little ashamed. This time he was the last Uchiha. There were 3 Uchiha in Group A. Shisui and Obito were the top 2 in the strength test, but he was eliminated in the 3rd round. Shisui didn't speak. He felt that Uchiha Tiehuo might have misunderstood him. Even Metkai didn't think about practicing all the time. It was just because there was no progress in the breathing method that Shisui was like this. Just misunderstanding, Zishui didn't explain. After going home and eating, he went to Mu Yu's place and continued to practice the breathing method under Mu Yu's guidance. The 4th day of practicing the breathing method soon came to an end. The situation was similar to the 3rd day. Only Obito felt a little bit. It wasn't until the 5th day that a new change came, and Shisui's breath of fire also showed some proficiency. The air flow is like eating hot ramen. Shisui felt that Obito's description was unexpectedly appropriate. He could feel a flow of air sucked in from his mouth and traveling along the chakra meridians. The 5th day of breathing technique training is over, and only Metkai is left, who has not yet gained proficiency in breathing techniques and is still trying to find the sense of chi. 5 more days passed, and Metkai still couldn't find that so-called feeling. During practice on Wednesday, Metkai, Shisui, and Obito gathered together to discuss the practice of breathing techniques. Akai, you can also imagine the feeling of eating ramen, a burst of heat entering your stomach. Obito tried to pass on his successful experience to Metkai. Akai, just refer to Obito's words. It should be based on what teacher Muyu taught. Although they are both breathing methods, there should be a big difference. Shisui said. If the 2 breathing methods are similar, Muyu will definitely let them learn one directly. There is no need to go to such trouble and practice separately. Well, teacher Muyu said that the current progress is considered normal. Rock breathing is more difficult than the breathing method you practice. Metkai nodded and replied. His mentality is actually very good, it has only been 10 days. When Metkai was learning the clone technique, towards the end of his 2nd year, he was unable to create a clone that was exactly the same as the main body and could move. It had been nearly 3 years, and he didn't say he would give up completely. 10 days was nothing. Even if it takes 1,000 days to learn it, as long as Muyu doesn't talk about practicing anything else, he will continue to practice like this. He believes that persistent efforts will definitely lead to success. Because he is a hard-working genius recognized by Muyu. Hehe, you have to work hard, Kaiken. I won't be merciful just because your breathing method is more difficult during the practical exam 3 days later. Obito said with a smile. It is now nearing the end of the summer special training. The training will end on Friday, and the last actual test will be conducted on Saturday. Even the breathing method that has not been fully learned can enhance the strength. If he is one breathing method ahead, Metkai will definitely not be his opponent. There is no need to use perspective cloning tactics, just use hard power to win. Haha, youth should use all his strength when fighting. Metkai showed his shining white teeth and praised Obito. Metkai would not be happy if Obito gave in. He believed that fighting with all his strength is youth. After practicing in the afternoon, Metkai returned home. Seeing that Metkai was covered in hot sweat, Mat Dai laughed loudly and said, Kai, you have worked hard and become stronger today. You wait at home, and I'll buy some meat to cook for you. You can't miss out on meat when you're growing. Just buy some cheap vegetables. I don't think I have much money at home. Metkai couldn't help but say. Matt Dai is just a genin, and no one is willing to form a team. D-level missions don't happen all the time, so he can't make much money at all. Although Metkai didn't know the details of his father's job, he also knew that his family's financial situation was not good. This is not something you should worry about. Kai, you just need to practice seriously. Matt Dai gave Metkai a thumbs up and smiled. After saying that, Matt Dai went out to buy groceries. Metkai thought for a while and finally followed. If there is really no money, he will come out in time to persuade Matt Dai to buy cheaper vegetables. Metkai followed Matt Dai all the way to the vegetable market. When he arrived at the vegetable market, Matt Dai went straight to the meat shop. Boss, how much does a pound of meat cost? Matt Dai asked. The butcher shop owner stood up, glanced at Matt Dai, and replied, 100 taels and 1 catty. Then the butcher shop owner picked up the knife and asked, how many pounds does it cost? Matt Dai did not say how much to buy, but bargained, boss, it's almost night, your meat is not fresh anymore, 100 taels is too expensive. Then it will be cheaper for you, 97 taels per catty. The butcher shop owner thought for a while and said, it's only 3 taels cheaper, which is too little. Then I'm going to go to other stores to check out. Matt Dai pretended to leave. Okay, let's make it cheaper for you, 93 taels per catty. The butcher shop owner quickly stopped and said, 80 taels per catty. Matt Dai shook his head and said, it's 20 taels cheaper all of a sudden. You must have cut it too hard. The butcher shop owner showed a reluctant expression. Matt Dai immediately turned around and started to leave again. Okay, 80 taels per catty is 80 taels per catty. It can't get any cheaper. No matter how cheap it is, I will lose money. The butcher shop owner stopped again and said, okay, give me 40 taels of meat. Matt Dai said with a victorious smile. You only need 40 taels. The butcher shop owner was stunned by the action of chopping meat. I have never seen a ninja who is so stingy and knows how to bargain. The butcher shop owner couldn't help complaining. Ninjas generally eat more than ordinary people because they exercise a lot, and they usually buy at least a few kilograms. Thank you for the compliment. Matt Dai gave the butcher shop owner a thumbs up and smiled. A 10,000-year genin is a 10,000-year genin. You waste so much time buying meat for only 40 taels. 2 ninjas passing by said with disdain when they saw this scene. No one would be willing to entrust a task to a ninja like him. One of the tall and thin ninjas laughed. Forget it, that the ninja phantasm is not good enough, and his behavior is so weird. If I were my client, I would not entrust such a person to do the task. Another fatter ninja nodded and said. Facing the 2 people's contempt, Matt Dai just smiled and gave them a thumbs up, and then walked towards home. He had to go home to cook for his son. Matt Dai didn't care, but Matt Kai, who had been hiding it all this time, was already getting angry. He remembered that 3 years ago, Medica was ridiculed in the same way when he led him on the street. That time, Medica was angry and went up to him to vent his anger for his father. In the end, he was beaten because he was not strong enough. It was Kakashi who passed by. Save him. Encountering such a situation again, Metkai didn't know if he could defeat the 2 official ninjas, and he didn't know if Kakashi would appear again, but he knew that he must definitely take action. Because of the 40 taels of meat that Metadai bought, Metadai himself would definitely not eat even 1 bite and let Metkai eat them all. How could Metkai, a father who raised him like this, tolerate others scorning and insulting him? Metkai followed the 2 ninjas who mocked Matai out of the vegetable market and walked to a street. 3 sentences, Metkai said coldly to the 2 ninjas. The tall and lanky ninja turned around in confusion and saw that it was Metkai who was wearing the same tights as Matt Dai, and said, Boy, what are you saying? You are truly a father and son. You are both very strange. This kid seems to be in a ninja school, and he seems to be a loser. The fat ninja said with a smile. Isn't this a perfect match, a 10,000-year genin and a crane-tailed son? The 2 laughed. I have set a rule for myself. If someone scolds my father, I must give him 5 punches. You just said 2 more words, and now it is 5. Metkai said with 5 fingers. Kid, get out of here while I'm in a good mood, and you can punch me 5 times in 1 sentence. Do you have the strength? The tall and thin ninja said with disdain. A young boy who hadn't graduated yet dared to speak arrogantly to their official ninjas. Metkai chose to answer the question with his own feet. Konoha Tornado. Metkai poured his strength into his legs, exploding chakra, and quickly kicked out an extremely fast tornado kick. The tall and lanky ninja did not expect that Metkai could explode with such speed. He was caught off guard and was kicked in the chest by Metkai and fell back several meters. Domon, block the road over there. I have to teach him a lesson for his good-for-nothing father today. The tall and thin ninja felt the pain coming from his chest and said through gritted teeth. The fat ninja nodded, ducked past Metkai, and blocked Metkai's way back. You kid, you like fighting, right? I want to see how you, a kid who hasn't graduated, can give me, a Chunin, 25 punches. The tall and thin ninja rubbed his fists, rushed towards Metkai, and launched an extremely violent attack. The fists of the skinny high school ninja hit Metkai like raindrops. Metkai wanted to engage in a head-on taijutsu battle with the skinny high school ninja, but to his surprise, he found that he was quickly suppressed and his face and arms were hit by fists. Middle. The advantage of height and the suppression of combat experience made Metkai quickly fall into a disadvantage. His physique, which usually stood out among his peers, had no effect now. Fortunately, Metkai had been practicing his physical skills for a long time, which allowed him to bear fewer blows. Boom! The fat ninja behind Metkai took action, and while Metkai was dodging the attack, he kicked Metkai several meters away and hit the wall on the street. Have you been drinking too much tea recently? Why are you so slow to teach a kid who is still in school? The fat ninja said with a smile. Gungan, this kid is a bit weird. He feels more agile than a monkey. The tall and thin ninja said angrily, and immediately appeared in front of Metkai. Boy, remember, not everyone is as weak as your good-for-nothing dad. The tall and thin ninja grabbed the clothes on Metkai's chest and said. Now it's 7 sentences, Metkai said silently. Still saying these few words, I think you don't think the fist you just punched hurt, right? The tall and thin ninja felt that he was being seriously looked down upon when he heard what Metkai said, and he raised his fist and hit Metkai directly. Go. Metkai kicked the wall next to him, using the force to get rid of the lanky ninja's control. The tall and lanky ninja was about to rush forward and continue to teach Metkai a lesson, but found that Metkai suddenly disappeared. Watch your back, the fat ninja warned. The tall and lanky ninja turned around instantly and punched, just in time to collide with Metkai's kick. After a single blow failed, Metkai took a few steps back. He looked around and thought about his countermeasures. This was his first one-on-one attack, and his opponents were all stronger than him. Although Metkai had used his extraordinary strength, he could not defeat the four-handed opponent with 2 fists, and soon his clothes were covered with dust from falling to the ground many times. However, after mastering the shaving, Metkai could suddenly burst into extreme speed, leaving 2 footprints on the lanky ninja. Hoo-hoo! Metkai gasped hard, his legs trembled uncontrollably, and he half knelt on the ground. So far, he has used the shaver 5 times. In fact, his legs were already very tired when he used it for the 4th time, but Metkai still had the courage to continue using the shaver to attack. At this moment, his legs were completely exhausted. Haha, I can't run anymore, keep going, why don't you avenge your good-for-nothing dad? The tall and thin ninja showed a mocking look. Metkai's continuous actions have completely angered him, and now he doesn't want to care about anything but just beats Metkai. Isn't it true that what I heard before was false news? This guy doesn't behave like a loser at all. The fat ninja said. I don't care if he's a bully or not, I must give him a good beating today to let him know who he can't mess with. The tall and lanky ninja clenched his fists and said. Still not successful. Looking at the lanky ninja getting closer and closer, Metkai felt a little unwilling. 2 ninjas, he was about to be defeated, it was also dusk, and time seemed to have returned to 3 years ago. He did not regret standing up to avenge his father, he only regretted that he was not strong enough to defeat the 2 men. If you master the breath of rock. Metkai once again remembered the day when Muyu demonstrated the terrifying power of breath of rock to him. With the blessing of concentrated breathing, Muyu's speed and strength increased in all aspects, and the power of every physical technique became extremely powerful. Panting heavily, the enemy was getting closer and closer, and the knowledge Muyu had taught Metkai became clearer and clearer in his mind. The breath of rock is the breath like a rock, powerful and tough. If you can practice it to the depths, you can protect everything you want to protect like a rock. Miu Yu's voice seemed to ring in her ears. Suddenly, Metkai felt like he understood something. Metkai exerted force on his abdomen, inhaled a large amount of oxygen, then exhaled white air, and his breathing rhythm suddenly changed. The tall and lanky ninja was still saying something, but Metkai didn't pay attention. He put all his energy into breathing. As he continued to breathe, Metkai felt that strength was continuously generated, and even his legs, which were extremely tired just now, seemed to have regained strength. His legs stopped shaking. He stood up and looked at the lanky ninja. This time, he will use the power of rock to protect his father. You can actually stand up. The tall and thin ninja was a little surprised. He saw that Metkai's legs were shaking like that just now. However, the lanky ninja still didn't take Metkai seriously. He just felt that Metkai was holding on. The breath of the rock, concentrate your breathing, the whirlwind of Konoha's strength. Inhaling a large amount of oxygen into the body to strengthen every cell in the body, Metkai felt that his strength was stronger than ever at this moment. He used Shaver again to appear next to the lanky ninja, and then kicked out a roundhouse kick. The tall and lanky ninja felt that Metkai suddenly disappeared after standing up, and then kicked him in the chest with a foot. Boom! The tall and lanky ninja hit the wall hard, making a dull impact. How is it possible that the son of a 10,000-year genin can be so powerful? This was the lanky ninja's last thought before he lost consciousness. The fat ninja opened his mouth wide with a shocked expression. But Metkai didn't give the fat ninja more time to react. He directly sent the fat ninja up the wall with a Konoha whirlwind. There are 8 sentences in total. Metkai walked up to the two of them and said, and then he punched and counted. After 5 punches, Metkai exited the breathing state, but he still dragged his tired body to the 40 punch 1 punch at a time and finish with a lot of punches. Akai, you have become a lot stronger. Kakashi suddenly appeared and said. Kakashi happened to see this scene when he was shopping nearby, but when he came, Metkai was half kneeling on the ground. Just as Kakashi was about to take action, Metkai suddenly broke out and killed the two of them instantly. Kakashi was a little confused by Metkai's sudden burst of power just now. Now he really believed what his father said before. Metkai would really become his strong enemy, or even surpass him. Of course, because I am a hard-working genius recognized by teacher Miu Yu. Metkai gave a thumbs up and showed a bright smile, with 2 rows of shining white teeth that were particularly eye-catching. After saying that, Metkai couldn't control his body and fell backwards. He was too tired from the explosion just now. Kakashi quickly caught Metkai. Next time, remember to have enough strength to walk home, otherwise your father will worry about you. Kakashi said as he picked up Metkai on his back and walked towards Metkai's house. Haha, don't you have a close friend? Metkai said with a laugh. I can't just be there every time. Kakashi said speechlessly. After sending Metkai to the door of his house and watching Metek being taken in by Metday, Kakashi turned and left. Today's Metkai really surprised him. Until now, Kakashi has not figured out how Metkai's last 2 feet suddenly burst out with such powerful force. He should have been exhausted. Hatake, the teacher told me to do the task tomorrow. Remember not to be late. On the way home, Kakashi met 2 teammates who came to see him. Yeah, Kakashi nodded coldly, without saying anything, and walked straight in the direction of his home. It's so cold. I don't know if I thought I owed him a lot of money. His teammates couldn't help complaining. I don't come to group training, and I never practice cooperation. I'm quite active in doing tasks. Who said this person is a genius ninja? Just stop saying a few words. Although he was very tired, Metkai still went to Muyu after eating. He went there every day, but suddenly he stopped going. Metkai felt that Muyu might be worried about him, and he also had to report to Muyu about the breathing method. Teacher Muyu, I suddenly fell into a state when I was fighting with someone. The strength in my body became stronger and faster, and even my tired legs became full of strength again. Metkai told Muyu about what happened to him in the afternoon, things. However, he tried to make the battle as easy as possible and did not say that he was so tired in the end that he could not walk. Muyu directly opened the appraisal to check Metkai's breathing technique proficiency. Skill, rock breath not yet started, 17/100. Yu was shocked. Yesterday, Metkai's proficiency was still 0, but today it jumped to 17. What is this concept? Yesterday, Obito had the highest proficiency, but at only 6 points, Metkai jumped directly from 0 to 17, which was close to 3 times that of Obito. Yu analyzed what Metkai said and felt that the situation at that time was relatively critical, and Metkai was very suitable for practicing rock breathing. The idea at the time was also consistent with rock breathing, so his potential was stimulated, and he suddenly learned what he had taught him before. All the contents are understood, and the proficiency level immediately soars. You won't be practicing today, just sit and watch Obito and the others practice for a while, Yu said. Metkai did not show off and nodded. When teaching Obito and Shisui, Muyu directly told Obito and Shisui the good news. Now Akai's breathing method training progress is the first. He can now use breathing method to strengthen himself. Yu said. Ah, didn't I even feel angry yesterday? How could I become so strong in one day? Obito said in surprise. He practices breathing techniques and knows how difficult it is. Moreover, according to Yu, Metkai's rock breathing is more difficult than the flame breathing they practice. Obito does not understand how Metkai can do it in one day. By leaps and bounds. He felt that Metkai was cheating. Practice hard, and there will be times when you make rapid progress. Yu said with a smile. Obito's talent in practicing the breath of fire is still good. If not for Metkai's sudden epiphany this time, Obito would have been ahead in the breathing method. Yu even thought that Obito would be the first to learn the breathing method in the end. The opportunity for enlightenment does not come every day. Given the difficulty of Breath of the Rock, Metkai can only hone his proficiency through hard training day after day. But it's already better than it was at the beginning, and it's important to achieve a 0 breakthrough. After hearing the news about Metkai's rapid progress, Obito was immediately under great pressure. Not counting today that was almost over, there were only 2 days left before the final test. Originally he thought his top 2 positions were stable, but now it looks very unstable. Mugetsu Sennin, please bless me and I will make rapid progress. Obito clasped his hands together and prayed in his heart. Wrong posture. Yu pulled Obito's closed hands away. The prayer was destroyed by immortal Yu himself. Obito, whose prayer failed, could only return to training, practicing different breathing repeatedly and feeling the subtle changes in his body. On Thursday, Yu was still teaching normally. However, because the special training was about to end, Yu would give the students some chicken blood every time they started class. This special training is almost over, and the promotion rewards have not been triggered yet. Yu feels that the students can work harder in the last 2 days. It has reached this point in time, and most of the training goals set by Yu have been achieved. Except for a few new members, the members of Group A have basically completed the practice of the teleportation technique. Whether they can use it well or not depends on the individual, but they have definitely learned it. The members of Group B have basically completed the practice of climbing trees and treading water. Their per capita chakra control ability has greatly improved, and their level of 3 body skills has also improved greatly. If you only count the initial members of Group B, the average ninjutsu score has almost increased from more than 7 points to more than 9 points. Those outstanding students from the lower grades have also improved rapidly during these 5 weeks of special training. If they start school, they will definitely surprise their classmates. It's the last 2 days. Everyone, hurry up and practice. The Sandaime-sama is coming to see the actual combat test in 2 days' time, so that the Sandaime-sama can see the results of your efforts. Yu continued to pump blood. It's finally time to truly become famous. Gang Ziti and Shenyu Izumo looked at each other and began to continue to ponder ninjutsu and express themselves better. Are you getting dumplings if you do well in the exam? Hongdo just wanted to be rewarded with dumplings by Yu. I really don't know why a bad old man is happy about coming. Asuma looked unhappy. There may be some students among the more than 300 who are not interested in the 3rd generation, but Asuma is probably the only one who is unhappy with the 3rd generation. Sandaime Hokage. The history of Muyu sect came to Shisui's mind. Teacher Muyu, I seem to feel that my abdomen is slightly swollen. Is the posture already very standard and the airflow is circling in the meridians and acupuncture points? Obito asked with excitement. I think you had too much dinner. Yu took a look and found that Obito's posture was wrong again as he gradually breathed, so he replied. I seem to have eaten a little too much. Obito's face turned a little rosy, he touched his slightly bulging belly and showed an embarrassed smile. Hearing this somewhat outrageous conversation, Shisui next to him couldn't hold back, laughed out loud, and his breathing rhythm suddenly became disordered. You have to control the chi inhaled into the body, rather than the chi inhaled affecting the posture of the body. Yu corrected Obito's posture step by step and then said. This is what Shisui did well. Yu pointed at Shisui who had recovered and repositioned himself. Overall, the progress of Shisui is not as good as Obito, but this part of the practice of Shisui is faster than Obito. Why don't you, Teacher Muyu, tie me up and fix it, so that you can better guide the inhaled air? Obito had an idea flash in his mind and came up with a good idea. The strengthening movements of the breathing method are each more difficult than the last. Not only are they affected by airflow, but the body will also be very tired if you hold those difficult postures for a long time. Yu didn't know for a moment whether it was Obito's eagerness to practice or the awakening of some strange hobby, and he actually wanted to directly physically fix it. Yu has also thought of this method, but the effect of such physical fixation is not necessarily good, but the body will definitely be uncomfortable, which is not humane. Those who knew it were practicing breathing techniques, but those who didn't know thought they were interrogating spies from other countries. This method may be feasible, but the practice process will be very uncomfortable. Are you sure you want to do this? Yu asked. Since Obito wants to try it on his own initiative, Yu will not object. There is no such thing as easy training in ninja training. You will sweat profusely from exercising every day and your whole body will be wet with sweat. When you climb a tree and fall to the ground, it will be very painful. If you make a mistake when treading water, you will fall into the water. If you don't pay attention to the changes in the properties of fire attribute chakra, you will burn yourself. Let's try it first. I feel quite uncomfortable posing here. Obito nodded and said, he still wanted to try if he could make the progress faster through some tricks. Since the special training period is only 5 weeks, although it was previously said that there would be a strength test every 2 weeks, the last actual combat test was actually 3 weeks apart. Obito finally defeated Metkai once before, and saw the dawn of a winning streak in practicing breathing techniques. He didn't want to be won back by Metkai so soon. In the 2 practical examinations of the ninja school, the class practical examination and the grade practical examination, Metkai defeated him 4 times in total, but he has only won once now. Muyu fulfilled Obito's wish. He found a few wooden boards and some ropes, and tied Obito to the wooden boards to fix a position. However, Muyu did not tie it tightly. If it was too tight, it would affect the body's blood pressure circulation, so Muyu reminded. The rope is not very tight and can only be used as an auxiliary tool. You still have to guide it yourself. Don't think about being fixed and just breathing. Obito nodded, and then began to practice the breathing method seriously. After practicing for a while, Obito found that it seemed to be of some use, but he was a little uncomfortable being restrained. Practicing a movement and asking Mu Yuing's clone to help him change his posture, Obito even felt pretty good after practicing for an hour. As long as his movements are deformed, he will hit a loose rope, and he will immediately know that his movements are incorrect, and then adjust immediately. When the training time was about to end, Muyu brought Metkai to Shisui and Obito. Akai, use breathing techniques and then physical techniques. Muyu said to Metkai. Metkai nodded and began to adjust his breathing rhythm to absorb a large amount of oxygen into his body to increase his strength. Konoha's Great Whirlwind. Metkai picked the thickest tree nearby, a tree that even 3 people might not be able to hug when surrounded by one. He immediately erupted with chakra and kicked it away. Bangta. With a roar, the big tree fell to the ground, and the place where Metkai kicked it was already in tatters. The speed and strength have become much stronger. Obito, who often fights with Metkai, said in surprise. Just now, Metkai's tornado kick seemed to bring out a gust of wind, and the surrounding grass was suppressed. As long as you take one step further, you can almost apply the breathing method in battle. Muyu said to Shisui and Obito with a smile. Breathing techniques are so difficult to practice, so you have to look forward to it. Now that Metkai is leading the way, let's use Metkai as a benchmark. One more thing, you should not use the breathing method in the actual combat test the day after tomorrow. Muyu said. Why? Obito asked with some confusion. At present, only Metkai can be used in battle, so this is not to forcibly abolish part of Metkai's strength. Although it was good news for him, Obito was very confused. This was not a training game, but he was trying to level his strength. If he really wanted to level his strength, he would have to ban most of Shisui's ninjutsu and genjutsu. You have just started to practice. If you cannot control the speed well, it is easy to overload the battle with the breathing method and leave hidden injuries on the body. Muyu explained. This is just one of the reasons. In fact, the real reason is because the third generation will come to watch. The third generation is different from other ninjas. He has mastered too many secrets of various ninjutsu and body arts. However, Metkai and the others are young and unskilled at this time. If they suddenly burst out, it is easy for the third generation to see the problem. If it's okay to be alone, it would be intriguing if Obito also used the breathing technique in battle. So Muyu simply asked the disciples not to use the breathing method. It's fine if you shave it off, except that it's a little faster. It actually doesn't look much different from the ordinary body shutting technique. Because Obito and the others are stronger and their teleportation technique is faster, it is reasonable. I thought my legs had recovered after using the breathing method that day, but I failed to maintain the breathing method and my fatigue broke out instantly. Metkai nodded, and Muyu was indeed right. Obito showed a look of realization. On Saturday, all students gathered at the training ground on time to prepare for the final practical test. Sarutobi Hiruzen came as he said, and he was not the only one to come, but also brought many teachers with him. This was what Sarutobi Hiruzen and Muyu had communicated in advance, and on the day of the exam they brought other teachers to see this special training model. The students are very energetic and look confident. Sarutobi Hiruzen, wearing a white robe and a Hokage hat, said with a smile. Let's take a look at the results of their 5 weeks of hard work. Sandaime-sama, Hokage-sama. Group C had just finished drawing lots when Hiruzen Sarutobi came over, and the students greeted Hiruzen Sarutobi one after another. Everyone just treat it as usual, I'm just here to take a look. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a kind smile. No, 1 Anko Midori and no. 2 Mitsukin Asakawa are ready to start fighting. Shadow clone Muyu began to preside over the test. The students called by Muyu quickly went to the battle site and got ready to fight. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced around. In order not to affect each other, the distance between the 3 groups' testing locations was not too short. Muyu, you have worked hard these past 5 weeks. You have to take care of more than 300 students by yourself. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed. In this case, one person is simply not enough, and a shadow clone is needed. No, Muyu's body is still next to him, and the shadow clone is still there presiding over the exam. The responsibility lies. Muyu replied with a smile, without saying much. The third generation smiled and nodded, turning his attention to the battle that had already begun. Although her opponent Mitake Asakawa was a 4th-year student and Anko was at a height disadvantage, Anko was not weak at all and rushed forward to start a close combat fight with Mitake Asakawa. Anko's physical skills are very aggressive, the kind where I can be injured, but you will definitely be more seriously injured than me. Feeling the attention of many onlookers, Asakawa Mikan secretly complained that he could not withstand Hongdu's crazy attack. Mitake Asakawa relied on the power of Anko's punch to fall back into the tree, then flew directly up the tree, and then threw a large number of shurikens at Anko, trying to kite Anko. But Anko was not thrown away by him. She had already completed her tree climbing training and had already practiced using the woods to fight. She soon caught up with Asakawa Mitsuru and battled wits with him in the trees. The 3 basic ninjutsu of clone, transformation, and substitute were all used by the 2 of them. Muyu, this Mitarashi Anko is a student in your class, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen said suddenly. Because Muyu's class scores were so outstanding before, he had a slight impression of the top performers in Muyu's class. Well, she is a student in class 1. Muyu nodded. To have such chakra control ability and ninjutsu level in the 1st grade, he is an excellent student. Sarutobi Hiruzen touched his mustache and nodded. He was very satisfied with Muyu's teaching results. Both students showed good abilities, but this was Group C with the worst progress. Yes, with such strength, even third-year and fourth-year students with average strength may not be able to achieve it. The Chunin teacher who came with Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed. Her opponent is not bad. With more practice, she should be able to reach the level of graduation. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued. The other Chunin teachers nodded in approval. One of the Chunin teachers was even more surprised, because Mikan Asakawa was a student in his class. He remembered that this student was quite ordinary, but he didn't expect that he would make such a big improvement in just 5 weeks of special training. Is it because I didn't study seriously before, or because I worked too hard in the past 5 weeks, or because Muyu is really good at teaching? He doesn't know which reason is it for now. Anko Mitarashi wins. In the end, Asakawa Senkin was slightly inferior, and Anko won. No. 3 Gangzi Tai and no. 4 Zongsan are about to start fighting. Muyu quickly announced the names of the contestants for the next battle. Nakamori Goeki, this is my student. Ikegaya said. Oh, how about your actual performance in daily combat? Hiruzen Sarutobi asked curiously. It's relatively ordinary. The actual combat score is usually around 15 points. Ikegu Yang said honestly. But his opponent looks like he should be a first or second year student, so that should be fine, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen understood the level of Nakamori Goeki when he heard 15 points. According to the ninja school scoring standards, it was a very ordinary score. Not necessarily. That Gangzati is also a student in teacher Muyu's class, and his actual performance is quite good. Aya Ueda said it before Muyu came out to recognize the student. While the onlookers below were discussing, the battle also started. Nakamori took advantage of his physical advantage and stepped forward quickly, launching a series of swift attacks. Although Gangzati has a disadvantage in terms of strength, his short size also means flexibility. Gangzati nimbly dodged Nakamori Goeki's attack. The situation was very tense for a while. If nothing else goes wrong, Nakamori Goeki should win. A Chunin teacher speculated. Although on the surface it seems that Gangzati has not been suppressed too much at the moment, he is actually at a great disadvantage. Gangzati is younger and does not have the advantage in physical strength. If he continues to use up this way, he will sooner or later be seized of the opportunity. This student is not bad. Although he is not as good as his classmates, he is still very good. Sandai said while puffing on a small pipe. After all, the battle spanned several grades, and it felt pretty good to be able to fight like this for 3 generations. The art of confusing the enemy. Seizing a moment of respite, Gangzati directly used his strongest ninjutsu. In order to enhance his ninjutsu, Gangzati went to a women's clothing store. Instantly, 6 more big sisters wearing different styles of cool clothes appeared on the field and surrounded Nakamori Goeki. Nakamori Gang's sight was attracted by the mysterious power. Gangzati seized this opportunity and kicked Nakamori Goeki down, and then pressed the kunai in his right hand against Nakamori Goeki. Gangzati wins. After reacting, Nakamori Goeki was confused and shocked. He knew the ninjutsu of Gangzati, but he did not expect that Gangzati would dare to use this ninjutsu in such a scene, with the third Hokage watching. Quiet. There was silence on the field at this moment, no one made a sound. Both students and teachers looked at this scene in shock. Ahem. Finally, it was Sandai's cough that broke the silence. Sandai, who was fascinated by the sight, choked on the smoke. He quickly wiped away a trace of red under his nose and commented with a serious look. Teacher Muyu did a good job in this special training. Gangzi Tai made full use of his own advantages, and Nakamori Goeki's performance was also remarkable. How many points do you think he can score in this actual battle? 24, a Chunin teacher said first. Other teachers also graded accordingly, and the scores were pretty much the same. No teacher mentioned Gangzati, and everyone tacitly ignored what had just happened. They all praised Muyu for her good teaching during the summer special training and that the students had made great progress. I just occasionally glanced in the direction of Gangzi Tai, secretly thinking that he was really a talent. Zitai, now you are really going to make a name for yourself. Shenyu Izuyun looked at the victorious Gangzi Tai with envy. Under the watchful eye of the third Hokage, he flexibly used ninjutsu to defeat the weak and the strong. He wished he was the one standing on top now. No, 5 Yoshi Ishii and no. 6 Kamizuki Izumo prepare. Hearing his name, Kamizuki Izumo quickly stepped onto the stage. He also wanted to make a name for himself. Shenyu Izumo stepped forward quickly and met Gang Ziti, who was walking back. The two looked at each other and smiled, and lightly bumped their fists. Izumo, I've succeeded, it's up to you next. Gang Ziti couldn't control the joy on his face. Now thinking back on the battle just now, he couldn't help but want to cheer for himself. As a first-year student, he attacks the fourth-year students. He is at a disadvantage and calmly looks for opportunities to defeat the enemy with one strike. He is so ninja-like. Gang Zitai believes that the third Hokage will definitely remember his name, Gang Zitai. It's a pity that I couldn't spread the reputation of Brother Ebisu. Gang Ziti felt it was a pity in his heart. Because of Ebisu's repeated emphasis, Gang Ziti was not like the last time. Gang Ziti thinks Ebisu is good at everything, but he is too low-key and doesn't want others to know how great he is. After watching Kamizuki Izumo's battle for a while, Sarutobi Hiruzen almost had a rough idea of the outcome of this special training. The special training has indeed brought a lot of improvement to the students. After the special training, students who scored 15 points can reach a good score of 24 points. After the special training, first-year students like Gang Ziti have the ability to compete with senior students. Strength. Putting aside the ninjutsu that made him a little curious, Gang Ziti's performance in all aspects far exceeded the level that a first grader should have, and in this game, Shenyu Izumo also had similar strength. The strength of the students in this special training has improved a lot. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought in his mind. In fact, the score comparison has shown the students' progress very intuitively, but there are certain subjective factors in actual scoring, and the third generation prefers to see it in person. The art of confusing the enemy. Immediately, several older sisters in cool clothes appeared on the battlefield again and performed various suggestive actions. Kamizuki Izumo caught his opponent's distraction and defeated him. Sarutobi Hiruzen only felt his nose was a little wet, and felt that there were surprises in various senses in this test of strength. Teacher Muyu, these students of yours are quite creative. Kai Guyong was searching his guts and suppressing his blush, but he could only come up with such an appropriate compliment. Others can't support him, but Itgaya can't. After all, he has been a substitute teacher so many times. Ziti and Izumo are like this, Muyu said with a smile. Actually, it's not just Izumo and I. Gang Ziti sneaked over to Muyu. Teacher Muyu, this technique was developed by Izumo, Brother Ebisu and me. To be precise, Brother Ebisu led us to develop it, Gang Ziti said, deliberately amplifying his voice. He couldn't stand the fact that Ebisu's biggest role was unknown. Teacher Tanaka, isn't Ebisu a student in your class? I remember that his grades are pretty good. Yes, he is a student of my 4th grade and 6th grade. Tanaka smiled awkwardly. He also didn't expect that this weird ninjutsu was actually related to a good student in his class. He remembered that Ebisu was not a very serious person. Ebisu. Sarutobi Hiruzen also heard Gang Ziti's words and remembered this name as well. After completing his mission, Gang Ziti quietly returned, and when he was done, he took off his clothes and went into hiding. Ziti, how was my performance just now? Shenyu Izuyun asked excitedly. It's very strong. I saw the Sandaime-sama has been watching very seriously. Gang Ziti said as he put his arms around Shenyu Izumo's neck. That's great, now our brothers are really on the road to becoming famous. Shenyu Izumo waved his fist in celebration. It's not just the two of us, but also Brother Ebisu. Gang Ziti told Shenyu Izumo about his recent operation with a proud look on his face. Nothing to say. If Brother Ebisu finds out, he will definitely treat you to something to eat. Shenyu Izumo gave Gang Ziti a thumbs up. It takes courage to sneak into the group of teachers. We will tell Brother Ebisu the good news when the test is over. Gang Ziti said enthusiastically. Ebisu, who was waiting for his battle in Group A, felt his nose itchy and sneezed. He didn't know why he suddenly felt something bad. Seized this opportunity to perform well in front of Hokage-sama. Ebisu shook off these distracting thoughts and tried his best to maintain his good condition. After watching 2 more battles, other Chunin teachers also discovered that the improvement of those students was not an accident, but that all of them had improved a lot. How on earth is this taught? It's only been 5 weeks, but there has been such an improvement. Are all the students practicing every day without any distractions? Some teachers felt puzzled. Many Chunin teachers have heard of Muyu's teaching ability. But most people feel that even if they can teach again, it will not be of much use. In addition to the theoretical score, which may have a greater advantage, actual combat is still determined by the student's talent. No matter how good you are at teaching, you can still change the difficulty of ninjutsu. But the progress in front of them cannot be faked. Students they previously thought were average or even poor have reached a good level in more than a month of special training. Let's go take a look at the students in other groups. After the 5th battle, Hiruzen Sarutobi said. After watching the battles of 10 students, the entire group almost knew what level they were at. This is Group B. Muyu led Sarutobi Hiruzen and others towards the direction of Group B. Group B was tested near a river. As soon as Muyu and others passed by, they saw 2 students standing on the river fighting fiercely. Students in Group B have generally completed chakra control training. They have no problem climbing trees and treading water. In addition, their progress in physical skills and ninjutsu is faster than that of Group C. Muyu introduced. Can everyone walk on water? A Chunin teacher expressed doubts. If climbing trees is something that outstanding 4th-year students generally master, then treading water is a skill that even genin may not master, and it especially tests the level of chakra control. He took a cursory glance and found that there seemed to be no fewer students in Group B than in Group C. He thought there couldn't be that many outstanding students. But he soon had to believe that this was the truth, because all the students in Group B hit the river as soon as they hit the ground. Not only could they tread water, they looked very skilled. These students are definitely qualified to become genin directly after graduating. A teacher commented. If Group C is an excellent student, then Group B gives them the feeling that there is no problem in graduating directly. That's right, with this level of cloning skills, even if you use the graduation examination standards, you have a perfect score. A teacher agreed. Some teachers saw their students among them, and some doubted their lives. This kid wasn't that powerful before, why has he become so strong all of a sudden? For a moment, they didn't know whether they were burying the students or whether the students were acting like them. After seeing the outstanding performance of the students in Group B, Sandai began to look forward to the level of the students in Group A. This is Group A. After watching a few games, Muyu brought Sarutobi Hiruzen and others to Group A. Muyu introduced the level of students in Group A as she walked. The students in Group A have basically completed the chakra control training 2 weeks after the special training. During the special training period, they mainly strengthened their chakra control ability, learned the teleportation technique, and strengthened their physical skills and ninjutsu skills. Group A is the fastest progressing group, and the students are the strongest among all the groups. The composition of the group is mainly 4th-year students and graduated genin, followed by 3rd-year students and 1st-year students. Are there any 1st-year students? How can a 1st-year student reach this level? A teacher couldn't help but ask. He has the chakra control ability to climb trees and tread water, and also masters the teleportation technique. He is considered strong among genin. How could he be at a level that a 1st-year student can achieve? That 1st-year student should be the Uchiha Shisui in your class, Teacher Muzuki. If it is him, it might be possible. Aya Ueda asked. Apart from Shisui, Aya Ueda couldn't think of anyone in the 1st grade who could have this ability. Muyu nodded. Although Shisui's reputation as a genius is not small in the ninja school, there are still Chunin teachers who feel that it is impossible for 1st-year students to reach this level. Not to mention the 1st graders in the 1st grade, they felt that even the 1st graders in the 2nd grade could not achieve this level. In other words, Muyu's popularity and reputation are relatively good, otherwise some teachers may have to maliciously guess whether Muyu liked Ji Shui better and used her privileges to be directly transferred to Group A. Sarutobi Hiruzen just smiled and said nothing. He didn't know where Shisui's strength was now, but the previous battle in which Shisui defeated Asuma was enough to enter Group A. No, 17 Uchiha Shisui and number 18 are ready to fight. Muyu and the others arrived just in time to catch up with Shisui's battle. It's the same. I taught him before when he didn't graduate. He was a very good student. The teacher who thought it was impossible for the 1st grade students to reach the level of Group A said with a smile. He was happy for his former student, there were not many opportunities to show his strength in front of the Hokage. He knew that they had similar strengths. He was not weak when he was studying in school. Now that he has graduated and practiced for a long time, it is not easy for him to face a first-year student. Bingzu Leidong didn't know that his former teacher was already opening champagne before the game started. He felt a headache after hearing his opponent's name. Nothing to say, this time it will definitely be a round trip, and there is no chance of defeating Shisui. Of course, even if you don't give up directly, you will lose, and you have to lose decently. Taking a deep breath, Zhu Lei walked to the battlefield with a free and easy expression and formed a seal of opposition with Shisui. I already know the result in advance, so I just need to work hard to show my strength. Look at Raito's calm expression, it seems that he is very confident in this battle. The more the Chunin teacher looked at Raito, the more he felt that he was worthy of being the student he taught. The teachers nearby nodded in approval. In fact, most of the teachers believed in Mu Yu's words and Mu Yu's character, and believed that Shisui could reach the level of Group A, but they did not think that Shisui could defeat the same level. One is a first-year student who has just completed a semester, and the other is a genin who has graduated not long ago. They have also received the same special training. No matter how you look at it, they will win equally. Not to mention Shisui, even Kakashi, who had just finished his first semester, they felt that they would win jointly in the end. Mu Yu showed a gentle smile and said nothing. He didn't need to say too much, Zishui would be slapped in the face if he showed his strength. Sarutobi Hiruzen touched his mustache and looked at the battlefield with a smile. He was looking forward to the expressions of the teachers when they saw Amazuki lose. The battle begins. Mu Yu shouted. Whoosh. As soon as Mu Yu finished speaking, she and Zhu Lei used the teleportation technique to rush forward, holding a kunai and stabbing towards Zishui. He knew what kind of strength Shisui had, and there was no need to test it, so he just took action with all his strength. This kid, Raito, has a shortcoming. He doesn't know the severity of his attacks, and he hasn't gotten rid of it yet. The Chunin teacher saw that Raito was using the instant body technique to sprint with a kunai without giving Shisui a chance to show off. He shook his head and said. But something surprising happened to him at the next moment. Uchiha Shisui's body disappeared at the last moment, and he was stabbed in the air. Nizakuri was not disappointed. The problem was that Shisui couldn't dodge. He threw the kunai behind him without hesitation. Shisui paused his offensive and turned slightly to avoid the flying kunai. His speed is actually faster than Lei Tong. Teacher Bingzu Lei Tong was a little dumbfounded. Immediately afterwards, both of them grabbed a large shuriken and threw it towards Shisui, and then quickly formed a seal and used the clone technique to separate 4 clones. The clones climbed up the tree together and kept exchanging figures on the tree. Fire release. Impatience flower claw red. Shisui dodged the shuriken and started to use ninjutsu directly. First, he spit out a large mouthful of flames, then quickly threw his shurikens towards the flames, and then the flaming shurikens rushed towards the trees where Mingzito was located like small fireballs. Boom, boom. The shuriken carrying high-temperature flames hit the tree and made a big hole. All the big trees attacked by Shisui collapsed, and all the clones of Shisui disappeared. The main body was not seriously injured, but fell down. Is this a first-year student? Many Chunin teachers couldn't help but be dumbfounded when they saw the destructive power caused by Shisui's fire release. Not to mention a first-year student, it would be impossible for a graduated genin to perform this kind of fire escape. Raito should still have a chance. The strength of a ninja is not just about ninjutsu, but physical skills are equally important. After thinking for a while, the teacher Nazuchi Raito thought that there is still a chance for Nazua Raito to win. This Uchiha Shisui is so strong in ninjutsu, but he is definitely not particularly good at taijutsu. After all, he is only so young and cannot be proficient in everything, and the one he is equally good at is taijutsu. Shisui did not release any more ninjutsu, but ran towards the fallen Hamadashi Raito. Unable to retreat in time, Hinashiri had to quickly get up and engage in close combat with Shisui. Although Hinashiri seemed to be much taller and stronger than Shisui, in the taijutsu duel, he was beaten back quickly by Shisui under the surprised eyes of many Chunin teachers, looking like he was being suppressed. The identical teacher rubbed his eyes and looked at the battlefield again with wide eyes. After repeating it twice, he was sure that he was not mistaken. Uchiha Shisui wins. Ningzu Rado failed to withstand Shisui's high-intensity offensive and was quickly defeated. Mu Yu declared victory. The teacher once again fell into an extremely quiet state, with an expression of disbelief on his face. They once doubted whether this Uchiha Shisui had been practicing since his mother's womb. The strength of the first grader was simply too extraordinary. Ji Shui is the most diligent practitioner in the class, Mu Yu said leisurely. Other students only started to practice full-time during special training, but Shisui started practicing full-time in the southern forest very early. During the special training, after practicing during the day, he had to go to Mu Yu to practice at night. You all should study more with Mu Yu and create more teaching miracles, Sandai said with a smile while looking at the shocked expressions of many teachers. No. 19 Sarutobi Asuma and No. 20 Uchiha Obito prepare to fight. Chapter 91. Ikegu Yang finally saw the outstanding students in his class, smiled and said, Obito is a student in my class. He is very good. Before the special training, he was ranked second in the 4th grade. After experiencing the special training from teacher Muyu, I don't know how much improvement he can make. I have seen Uchiha Obito fight, and he is indeed very powerful. A teacher next to him said in approval. Uchiha Obito is indeed very strong, but his opponent is even stronger. Although Asuma is a genin who just graduated this year, he basically maintained the first place in his grade before graduation. Kimura Shanto said. He witnessed Obito's step-by-step rise and got rid of the crane's tail, but he still was not optimistic about Obito, because Obito's opponent was the son of the 3rd Hokage. Obito was second in grade, and Asuma was always first in grade. Ikegaya Yang had no choice but to nod. Normally, Asuma had a greater chance of winning. The teachers who had taught Asuma all started to boast about Asuma's performance in school, almost as if Asuma was as good as Shisui Kakashi. The 3rd generation still had a smile on his face, but he didn't take the teacher's praise seriously in his heart. How could he not know what his own son's level was? Asuma's performance is not bad, but it would be uncomfortable to compare with Shisui Kakashi. The 3rd generation stopped paying attention to the teacher's discussion and focused on the battle that was about to begin. You still have to care about your son's battle. Obito, how are you doing today? Asuma asked, forming the seal of opposition. It's good. I slept soundly last night. What's wrong? I won't let you do it even if your father is here. Obito also formed a seal and asked. Who wants you to give in? You must use your full strength later. Asuma replied. Although fighting Obito is difficult to win, it can fully demonstrate his strength. Because now he and Obito are similar types of ninjas, both have acceptable fire escape, physical skills and other aspects are not bad. The reason why he lost to Obito, who was not at his peak last time, was because of his carelessness. He didn't expect that Obito's physical skills had improved and he was caught off guard. The battle begins. Seeing the two of them getting into stance, Mu Yu shouted. Whoosh! The two of them used the teleportation technique at the same time to disappear in place, and shurikens fell on the ground where they were originally standing. Neither of the shurikens hit, and the two of them rushed towards each other and started fighting in close combat. The two of them were going back and forth and it was hard to tell who was better. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Asuma's performance and nodded secretly. Asuma's physical skills have really improved a lot compared to before, and now he looks more like a qualified ninja. Seeing that Obito did not fall behind in their taijutsu match, Kimura Shirt showed a surprised expression and said, Uchiha Obito has improved again. In the last grade exam, Obito was only excellent in physical skills, but now Obito's close combat ability has improved. Soon something even more surprising happened to Kimura Shirin. Asuma gradually fell into a disadvantage. The shaving speed that Obito mastered was faster than the ordinary teleportation technique. As long as Asuma showed any flaw, Obito would seize the opportunity. Mu Yu had to say that Hokage's localized shaving was indeed an excellent teleportation technique. Although it had the disadvantage of being more consuming and easier to fatigue, this was not a shortcoming of shaving, but a shortcoming of the user. As long as the body was strong enough, it would be fine. Fortunately, Asuma had more combat experience than Obito and did not allow Obito to continue to expand his results. In terms of physical skills, the winner could not be determined for the time being. The two of them exchanged kicks and then quickly distanced themselves and formed seals. Fire release. High fireball technique. Obito condensed a large amount of chakra, turned it into flames, and then sprayed a large fireball in the direction of Asuma. Fire release. High flame technique. Asuma also condensed chakra and sprayed fierce flames in Obito's direction. The two flames struggled with each other, each trying to engulf the other. But in the end, Obito's huge fireball was superior and gradually pressed towards Asuma. Asuma tried hard to gather chakra, but was still unable to offset Obito's fireball, so he had to duck and dodge. Whoosh! Obito seized this opportunity and once again used the faster razor to attack Asuma, who had dodged the fireball. Lost. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head, already knowing the outcome of this battle. In his eyes, Asuma made too many mistakes that shouldn't be made in this battle. He should not bite the bullet and continue fighting due to his speed disadvantage, but should calmly think about countermeasures. As for using fire escape and powerful fireball to fight against the bomb, it was a decisive mistake. If Sarutobi Hiruzen were Asuma's current strength, he would have over 100 ways to defeat Obito. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't only see shortcomings. Asuma had indeed improved a lot. If it had been Asuma from before, he would have lost in the taijutsu stage. As Sarutobi Hiruzen expected, Asuma, who had suffered successive defeats, was still trying to support himself but could not stop Obito's rapid offensive. Obito Uchiha wins. How is it possible? Asuma actually lost. The teachers were all dumbfounded and felt very embarrassed. They had just boasted loudly, but in the end they lost to a current student. Isn't this a slap in the face? Uchiha Obito is very good. If he can keep it up, he can become an excellent ninja in the future. The third generation said with a smile. Sandaime-sama is right, and I am very optimistic about Obito. Ikea Isamu became hardened instantly. No. 21 Ebisu and no. 22 Shiranui Genma prepare to fight. Hearing the name Ebisu, the teachers present all thought of the unforgettable scenery they saw in Group C not long ago. Isn't this the most creative student? A Chunin teacher teased the class teacher of Class 4 and Class 6. The third generation also became interested and looked towards the battle clearing, wanting to see what was special about Ebisu, the leader in development. Ebisu noticed the large number of onlookers and felt a little excited. If he performed well this time, his road to ninja would be smooth. Although his strength is not as good as Shiranui Genma, Ebisu has tried his best to show everything he has mastered, and finally lost. This battle in Ebisu made many teachers a little disappointed. It was not that the battle was not exciting, but it was different from what they imagined. The head teacher of Class 4 and Class 6 quietly left the team of teachers and came to Ebisu with a sullen face to criticize him. Ebisu felt a little confused. Although he lost, he felt that his performance should not be bad. Moreover, he and Shiranui Genma are classmates. He often lost to Shiranui Genma in the past, but now it is normal for him to lose. The third generation and many teachers have been at the training ground to see all the battles end. Among them, I will stay longer in Group A, but I will also visit other groups. Many teachers became more and more surprised as they watched, because many of the special training students were taught by them, and they felt that in the past month or so, they had not recognized the strong students. What do you think of this special summer training organized by Mu? After watching the test, Hiruzen Sarutobi stroked his goatee and asked the visiting Chunin teacher with a smile. It's so strong. I feel that the students have improved much more in more than a month of training than in a semester of normal classes. Ikegu Yang sighed. His praise was not entirely because he had a good relationship with Mu, but because he truly felt that Mu was particularly good at this special training. He is the head teacher of the second class of the 4th grade, and he has students in all 3 groups of ABC. Recalling the strength of these students when they did not participate in special training, he really feels a little incredible. Very ordinary students like Nakamori Goeki were promoted to good, and those students who were already good became excellent. It was really every student who improved. It feels very suitable for 4th-year students who are about to graduate. If more special training like this is carried out, then our genin of Konoha will be even better in the future. Kimura Shanto thought for a while and said. In fact, improving the strength of genin has a very important meaning, that is, it allows genin to quickly be able to complete tasks with higher rewards. Taking into account the strength of genin, in order to train ninjas more safely, under normal circumstances there will be a restriction for newly graduated genin. At the beginning, they can only do some chores such as picking up garbage, catching cats and weeding. If the quality of genin improves in the future, this restriction may be relaxed. The higher the reward, the more difficult the task. The more difficult the task, the more exercise you will get. This can form a virtuous cycle and accelerate the overall training speed. Even the teacher who was not very similar changed his view of Muyu and kept praising Muyu for his excellent teaching skills. The facts are here. There is no need to make any groundless guesses. Anyone with eyes can see the results of Muyu's teaching over the past month. I just try my best to teach. The students can't make such progress without their own efforts, Muyu said with a gentle smile. Special training is much more tiring than ordinary school. It takes 8 hours a day to practice. It is not easy for students to persist. Muyu sighed. Muyu did not attribute all the students' progress to herself, but began to praise the students' efforts. On the one hand, Hiruzen Sarutobi and his teachers have seen his achievements and praised them a lot, so there is no need for him to boast. On the other hand, students are indeed not having an easy time. The class he has here is not like the physical education class in his previous life, where he can just do a little exercise and then wander around freely. Teaching skills can only make it easier for students to absorb what Muyu teaches, but it is not a strength enhancer. If students do not learn and work hard, teaching skills are useless. No matter what, Muyu, you gave me a big surprise this time. The students' progress is real and I can see it all, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. Your special summer training set an excellent example for everyone, and is also a new direction for improving the strength of graduated genin. Kan Yusheng Muyu has strong teaching ability, outstanding work performance, and extremely hard work. I am hereby promoted to special junin, Sarutobi Hiruzen said to Muyu with a smile. Sarutobi Hiruzen handed a scroll to Muyu, patted Muyu on the shoulder with a kind smile and said, Junin Muzuki, I hope you can continue to work hard in the future to cultivate the next generation for Konoha. The future of Konoha depends on young people like you. Sarutobi Hiruzen made an agreement with Muyu from the very beginning to be promoted to a special junin. As long as Muyu can achieve results in this summer special training, he can be promoted to a special junin. In fact, when Muyu handed over the performance information to Sarutobi Hiruzen had already decided to promote Muyu. So everything for his promotion was prepared in advance. As long as there were no problems by then, he would promote Muyu on the spot. Being promoted to Junin and Special Junin is difficult. You have to complete many tasks to accumulate merit, and have special abilities and superhuman strength that are far beyond ordinary people. But it's simple. In fact, as long as Sarutobi Hiruzen is willing, he can directly promote a genin to a junin. Having been the Hokage for decades, he has the right to speak his mind, and no one will question his decision. However, for the sake of Konoha's credibility and the value of Junin, Sarutobi Hiruzen will definitely not promote ninjas to become Junin casually. Thank you, Sandaime-sama, for your attention. I will definitely devote all my energy to teaching students and cultivate stronger ninjas for Konoha. Muyu took the scroll with both hands and said with a look of emotion. Although he didn't have any special feelings in his heart, after all, so many people were present, so he had to be grateful. Junin. Ikegu Yong's eyes widened and he looked at Muyu with envy. Even if you are a special Junin, you are still a Junin, a high-level ninja. You can attend Junin meetings to discuss various important matters. There are only 2 Junin teachers in the ninja school. The monitor of the teacher's class is a Junin, the deputy monitor is a special Junin, and the other grade directors and directors of the office are all Chunin. Seeing that Muyu, who was a few years younger than him and had just become a ninja school teacher, had become a special Junin, Ikegaya Yang was extremely envious. If he was a special Junin, it would be easier to chase girls. Promoted so quickly, Aya Ueda was also very surprised. Although she knew that Muyu would be promoted sooner or later with her teaching skills, she didn't expect it to come so quickly. It makes sense if you think about it carefully. It brought out a class with outrageous results like the first class of the year, and also created a special summer training to improve the strength of the graduating students. The Chunin teachers all looked at Muyu with extremely envious eyes. But there is only one emotion: envy. After all, Mu has real achievements. If it were them, they really wouldn't have the confidence to teach such results. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded secretly in his heart after seeing the expressions of Mu and other Chunin. Such a straightforward promotion of Mu to special Junin will not only make Mu particularly grateful to him, but other Chunin will also think that the third Hokage is a talented person and will work harder in teaching in the future in order to be promoted. This is a good thing that only requires a little preparation in advance. Hey, what are the students doing around here? A teacher asked curiously. It should be after my shadow clone compiles the results and announces them. The final results will be compared with the initial group test results for the last time, so that students can see their progress more intuitively. Mu explained with a smile. Except for the special group A, the two groups B-C are all grade level standards from beginning to end. Let's go and see the progress of the students. Hiruzen Sarutobi said with a smile, leading the teachers over. Mu also showed a sincere smile and followed Sarutobi Hiruzen. Unlike the expression of gratitude at the beginning, this time his smile came from the bottom of his heart. However, his smile was not because of his special Junin position, but because the rewards from the system had arrived, and they were more than he imagined. Under your guidance, the students who participated in the summer special training have made progress in ninjutsu and physical skills, and their comprehensive strength has been improved. Rewards obtained. Chakra plus 800, Ninjutsu Proficiency Scroll, Combined Ninjutsu Proficient Level. There is almost no promotion reward given by the special summer training that he cannot use. Needless to say, chakra is never too much for him. The Ninjutsu Proficiency Scroll can be given to those who continue to improve ninjutsu or difficult ninjutsu, and the combination of ninjutsu can allow him to further improve his own skills after mastering a large number of ninjutsu. Output capability. And the rewards are not only the promotion rewards for summer special training. Mu continued to look at the system notification below. Disciple Uchiha Shisui worked hard and achieved perfect results in the summer special training, and received a reward, Chakra plus 200. Disciple Uchiha Obito worked hard and achieved excellent results in the summer special training, and received a reward, Chakra plus 150. Disciple Metkai worked hard and achieved excellent results in the summer special training, and received a reward, Chakra plus 150. Another 500 chakra came in. Looking at the test score calculations that appeared, Mu could only say that the bug in the system was indeed difficult to deal with. His guess was half right and half wrong. The exam he conducted himself could indeed trigger system exam rewards, but there were trigger conditions that he didn't know about. It might be the time between exams, or it might be the student's improved strength during the exams. Mu couldn't decide which factor it was. However, since there are rewards, the exam can still be done, but it is definitely not feasible to take the system reward once every few days. The chakra directly increased by 1003, half a small amount of chakra. Of course Mu was happy from the bottom of her heart. Mu opened the panel and started to check her latest attributes. Name: Hanyu Muyu. Chakra: 15,300. Now Muyu's total chakra amount has reached the level of 6 small cards. Mu could only say that the summer special training was really good. He was originally prepared for the chakra increase rate to drop after the holidays, but as a result, the actual increase in chakra growth during the summer training was even greater than when he was in school. In just over a month, chakra increased by a full 3,250 points. You must know that this is an increase without settling the training tasks, and Mu has not yet calculated the benefits of ninjutsu. Chakra growth has many components. The biggest ones are promotion settlement and examination settlement. The others are the rewards for classes, the rewards for apprenticeships, and the chakra for apprentices returning to their masters. In addition, Muyu's natural growth of chakra this month also changes. Too much. Chakra is synthesized from physical energy and mental energy. Since mastering the breath of the rock, Muyu's body has been slowly getting stronger every day with Changzhong's blessing, so the naturally growing chakra has also increased. Mu estimated that his chakra might break through the 20,000 mark before the end of next semester. You have made a lot of progress, from 12 points to 23 points. You have a lot, 15 to 25 points. When Mu and others passed by, the students were happily discussing their progress with their peers. Using data to compare can indeed show progress very intuitively, and the teachers were once again amazed. After reading the scores, Yu called the students together for the final speech. Are you all satisfied with the improvement in your performance? Yu asked with a smile. Satisfied. I didn't expect to improve so much in 5 weeks. Teacher Muyu, you are so powerful. I never thought that improving your strength is so easy. The students answered Muyu's questions in a flurry of responses. The specific words may be different, but the meaning expressed was that they were all very satisfied. It seems that everyone is satisfied with their improvement, but what I want to say here is that the most important thing for such improvement is your own efforts. If you continue to work hard like this in the future, everyone can become an excellent ninja in the future. Yu said with a serious expression. This is probably the greatest kindness he has shown to the students in more than a month. It is not to increase favorability and improve training efficiency, nor to use various methods to make students practice harder in order to obtain promotion rewards, but simply to hope that these children can increase their strength and save their lives in future wars. Yu, who has traveled less than 5 months, has no sense of belonging to Konoha and just wants to increase her strength and remove the curse mark on her body. But he felt that anyone who had received modern education would not have the heart to watch children around 10 years old go to the battlefield to fight. It's a pity that Yu is now a mud bodhisattva who can't protect herself. While she is busy growing, she also has to worry about being discovered by Danzo, the old Ginbi. No matter how hard he can't bear it, it's useless. The biggest boss, Hiruzen Sarutobi, was present at the scene. After Yu finished speaking, he very wisely invited Hiruzen Sarutobi to come up and give a speech. Actually, I was a little worried before I came here today, but after seeing the progress of you children, I feel relieved. Sarutobi Hiruzen showed a kind smile. I am very relieved to see such efforts in the new era of the village, because the struggles and sacrifices of our ancestors have not been in vain, and the village has been growing vigorously. As he spoke, Sarutobi Hiruzen said the famous saying of the will of fire. Wherever the leaves are flying, the fire will continue to grow. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and make new leaves sprout. You are the new leaves of Konoha. Nothing makes me happier than seeing you grow. The third generation said with a smile on his face, holding a pipe in his right hand and his left hand behind his back. Yu stood behind the third Hokage, facing the students with a gentle smile. He remembered a saying, that year when he was 18, he stood like a slave. After the 3 generations finished speaking, it was really the end and the time to disband. However, the students did not disperse immediately. Instead, they held Yu back and tied Muyu's eyes, saying they wanted to give him a surprise. After using perception ninjutsu to explore the area, Yu allowed the students to push her away. Dang dang dang, a huge 5-layer cake. Along with Hongdu's energetic voice, Muyu's covered eyes regained sight. She saw that she was surrounded by students, and in front of her was a very large cake that was only slightly shorter than him. There were 18 handfuls inserted on the top of the cake. A kunai-style dessert, and the cake is also filled with densely packed small candles. Teacher Muyu, thank you for your guidance this month. The students said neatly. Among the more than 300 students, more than half were not familiar with Muyu before starting the special training. Some had only taught once, and some might have only heard of Muyu's reputation. But during the more than a month that they spent together with Muyu, they all fell in love with this teacher who had strong teaching ability and was extremely gentle. When they were first divided into groups, many students were quite disappointed with Muyu. They felt that Muyu was also the kind of teacher who would treat students differently based on their grades, grouping together students with poor grades and average students. But they soon discovered that they were wrong. The purpose of grouping was not to treat students with good grades better, but to make more reasonable teaching arrangements. Although Group A is basically for outstanding students from each class, Muyu does not favor Group A. One shadow clone takes care of one group, while the main body teaches 3 groups in a cycle, without saying which group will receive more care. Every student has received guidance from Muyu's body. Even if they don't take the initiative to go to Muyu to ask questions, Muyu will take the initiative to teach them when they see them. Muyu can accurately call each of them by name, not that so and you were wrong. Muyu said that the students worked hard, but the students knew that Muyu worked harder and harder than them. Mu Yu was teaching when they were practicing. Mu Yu rarely rested during breaks and would take the opportunity to teach some theoretical knowledge related to practice. No matter how tired they are, they can practice alone, but Mu Yu not only keeps teaching back and forth between the three groups, but also creates 3 shadow clones to make up for the vacant time when the main body is absent. It is really like one person can be used as 4 people. Excellent students may not feel it deeply, but ordinary students and poor students who are rarely cared for by teachers really feel the warmth from teachers in Mu Yu. What they did not get from ordinary teachers was actually obtained from outstanding teachers with a good reputation, which really surprised the students. This is the biggest motivation for many students to work hard. We can't let such a good teacher Mu Yu down. We all pooled our money together to buy the cake. The 18 kanai are because teacher Mu Yu is 18 years old this year. There are a total of 359 candles on it. Everyone put one in it. Obito said with great interest. Explain the students' thoughts to Mu Yu. Looking at the innocent smiling faces around her, Mu Yu's eyes flickered and her heart was touched. Students of this age are innocent. If you are good to them, they will be good to you. Although they don't know what the purpose of the people who are good to them is. When you have enough ability, you should do something within your ability. Mu Yu thought in her heart. Even though the world sucks, there are still many lovely people. Teacher, I've received your wishes. I'm really sorry for troubling you all. Mu Yu said with a smile as bright as the warm sun. It's no trouble. If teacher Mu Yu is willing to become the homeroom teacher of class 4 and class 6, it won't be any trouble. Shiranui Genma said with a smile. That's right, teacher Mu Yu, you should become the head teacher of class 3 of the 4th year, so that you can be taught by teacher Mu Yu more often. The same goes for class 1 every 4 years. The students in class 2 of the 4th year laughed but said nothing. They believed that as long as Ikeguyang was around, teacher Mu Yu would be their teacher. No, this kind of thing is absolutely not allowed. Teacher Mu Yu can only be the head teacher of class 1. Hongdo stood in front of Mu Yu and looked at the students around her with a cautious expression. Let's share the cake together. If I eat this cake alone, then you will probably never see your teacher Mu Yu again. Mu Yu said with a relaxed smile. After hearing Mu Yu's words, the students temporarily stopped fighting for Mu Yu's ownership and began to receive cakes one by one. Mu Yu thought it was too slow to do it alone, so she immediately created several shadow clones to help with the cutting. The only thing the old man did right this year was to invite teacher Mu Yu as a tutor. Asma thought while eating the cake. Since each student's family background is different, those who have money should contribute more, and those who have no money should contribute less or contribute more. Asma directly contributed most of the pocket money he saved, and he was the one who contributed the most. The next step was to chat while eating cake, and everyone talked about interesting things that happened during training. Brother Ebisu, I have good news for you. Gangzati said to Ebisu with excitement. What good news? Ebisu asked a little depressed. He still didn't understand why he was criticized. Your reputation as a genius has spread to the Hokage. Gangzati replied. Brother Ebisu, you really have to treat Zati to something to eat this time. This time he had the courage to run into the teachers. Shenyu Izumo also said with a smile. What is the name of a genius? Ebisu felt something was wrong. He vaguely had a very terrifying answer in his mind, and he also found the reason why he was criticized inexplicably. It was like this at the time. I heard Muyu-sensei say my name, and Hokage-sama was right next to Muyu-sensei, so I deliberately loudly said your name, Brother Ebisu, who was the main contributor to perfecting the enemy confusion technique. Get out, Gangzati said proudly. But Brother Ebisu, don't take it to heart. This can be regarded as repaying your kindness in preaching to us. Gangzati said grandly. In front of the Hokage, Ebisu's face turned pale, and his journey as a ninja seemed to be over before it even started. Brother Ebisu, why don't you smile? Do you not like to laugh? Kamizuki Izumo felt that something was wrong with Ebisu. It's hard, the fist is hard. I really should treat you two to something and eat the cake. Ebisu couldn't stand it anymore and smeared the unfinished cake on their faces. Then a chain reaction started, triggering a cake fight. Although everyone was embarrassed in the end, most people were very happy. Don't be too sad, everyone. It's not like I won't teach at the ninja school. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I will always be everyone's teacher, Mu Yu. Mu Yu said at the end. Mu Yu was in a good mood today, her chakra increased slightly, and today she received her second gift since time travel. Asuma saw Sandai waiting for him on his way back. Asuma thought of Mu Yu's words before, feeling a little moved in her heart, and then said, "How do you feel about my battle today?" There were too many mistakes. If it were me, I would have more than 100 ways to win. Hiruzen Sarutobi shook his head and said. Asuma's face darkened, and he walked directly past the figure of Hiruzen Sarutobi and went home. After returning home, Mu Yu opened the scroll given to him by Sandai and took a look. After Mu Yu read it, she found that this was equivalent to a letter of appointment as a special Jonin. It had the signature of Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Hokage. It was more formal than when he was a Chunin. In the memory of the original owner, there was only one piece of paper to promote to Chunin. Tolerance is written on the scroll after all. Putting the scroll casually in the study, Mu Yu began to read the sealing technique information given by Kushina. The 5 elements seal is much more difficult than Mu Yu imagined. It is indeed a very difficult sealing technique. It has been 12 days since he learned the 5-finger seal, but Mu Yu's 5 elements seal is still stuck at more than 80 proficiency levels. Unable to get started. Mu Yu was thinking about whether to use the ninjutsu proficiency scroll on the 5-finger seal, so that she could master the 5-element seal instantly. After thinking about it for a while, he gave up. It was a waste to use the ninjutsu proficiency scroll on a ninjutsu that had almost no practicality. After all, it wasn't like he couldn't practice it. His talent for sealing was really good. Mu Yu wanted to save this kind of good thing that ignores the difficulty of ninjutsu and directly upgrade it to the proficiency level for high difficulty ninjutsu. If you have the opportunity to obtain the Flying Thunder God and successfully get started, then the ninjutsu proficiency scroll will come in handy. According to the rules of the system, proficiency can be superimposed by obtaining the same ninjutsu. It is possible that one proficient ninjutsu can be obtained by smashing several proficiency scrolls in succession. After a while, Mu Yu heard a knock on the door downstairs, so she put down the sealing technique information and went to open the door. Jonin Mu Yu, this is what the Sandaime-sama asked me to give you. The ninja handed the 3 scrolls to Mu Yu. Mu Yu thanked him and invited him to come in for tea. The ninja who gave the gift shook his head and declined before leaving. Mu Yuexen said that the ninjas under the 3rd generation were still better than Danzos, at least they would not show up quietly at his house and knock on the door. Mu Yu opened the scrolls one by one. The first scroll recorded 2 ninjutsus, namely Water Release, Water Chongbo, and Fire Release, Dragon Fire Jutsu. Both ninjutsu are pretty good. Water Wave not only has fewer seals, but also integrates offense and defense. It can not only turn the water into a waterspout to protect itself, but also control the water to attack the enemy like a waterfall. How Dragon Fire is also a very flexible fire escape. However, How Long Huo Muyu has already reached the proficiency level, and Muyu has also gained it once by giving a lecture on Water Chongbo. But it's not like he gained nothing. From now on, he can use these 2 ninjutsu openly. As for the second scroll, it was a plain and simple 300,000 taels of banknotes. Based on the monthly salary of a ninja school teacher, 100,000 taels, Sarutobi Hiruzen almost tripled his salary this time. Mu Yu accepted it with peace of mind. This was what he deserved. He taught 8 4th-grade classes by himself, along with some outstanding students from other grades and some graduated genin. Even if Hiruzen Sarutobi offered him 10 times his salary, he still deserved it. The 3rd scroll is Sarutobi Hiruzen's arrangements for his next work. Ninja school will start in 9 days. Teachers will start a week earlier than students. Mu Yu will go to ninja school in 2 days. Sarutobi Hiruzen said that he wanted to promote Mu Yu to the deputy monitor of the teacher's class, but after all, Mu Yu had only entered the ninja school for a short time, and had only served as an ordinary teacher so far, which could easily cause criticism, so Mu Yu was allowed to be the deputy monitor for 1 semester. Grade Director, Mu Yu was promoted to deputy monitor of the teacher class in the 3rd semester. The content of this scroll is what Mu Yu values the most. He doesn't care about the salary increase brought by promotion, but he can use the rights after promotion to obtain more rewards for himself. Through the summer special training, you can know that the reward for taking a large class is twice that of a normal class. Then he can apply to reform the curriculum of the ninja school and add some major classes to obtain more rewards. Moreover, adding large classes can also alleviate the pressure on teachers at the ninja school. For someone like Isamu Ikea who leads 2 classes, the class schedule is almost full. Of course, it is impossible for all classes to be held in large classes. Muyu is confident that he can take care of a ninjutsu class with hundreds or even hundreds of people, but ordinary Chunin teachers do not have this ability, and the teaching will definitely be a mess. Muyu is planning to apply to add theoretical classes to large courses, such as the history of the ninja world, the history of Konoha, and mathematics. Theoretical classes are relatively not as difficult to teach as ninjutsu classes and taijutsu classes. There are many people standing on top of the lectures, but as long as the students listen carefully, the effect will not be much different. Through this scroll, Muyu could feel the kindness sent to him by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen may tolerate a basic ninja to be an ordinary teacher, but it is impossible for Sarutobi Hiruzen to take the initiative to promote a basic ninja to the top of the ninja school. Muyu estimated that he would be able to break away from the roots soon, and he might not even have to break the curse seal himself. Danzo would have to help him break it by then. Danzo in Konoha cannot beat Hiruzen Sarutobi, because Naruto can really do whatever he wants. During dinner in the evening, Muyu told Kushina and Minato about his promotion to Special Junin. Has the 3rd generation old man ever moved so fast? Kushina was a little surprised. She didn't expect that the 3rd generation would finish Muyu's Special Junin on the same day. Let's all go together when we have meetings in the future. Minato smiled gently, happy that Muyu became a Special Junin. There is a big gap between Chunin and Junin, even Special Junin. They are directly on 2 levels. It may not be obvious at ordinary times, but during war, the 2 have completely different levels of say, and Junin can lead the team to perform important tasks. Before, I was thinking that Muyu, you have a good talent in sealing arts, and you should be able to be promoted to a Special Junin with your sealing skills. It seems that I underestimated you, Muyu Junin. Kushina sighed with a smile. After testing Muyu's talent in the sealing technique, she wanted to use the sealing technique to win over Muyu. As a result, Muyu was so good at teaching. As soon as the sealing technique was on the right track, she became a Special Junin directly through her teaching ability. Compared to you and Minato, it's still far behind. Officially becoming a Junin is my next goal. Muyu replied with a smile. You can definitely do it if you practice hard. Minato encouraged. Since Kushina had talked about the sealing technique before, Muyu quickly brought the topic to the practice of sealing technique smoothly and brought up some of the problems she encountered. He will not put all his hopes on others. He still has to do the research he should do. He will continue to learn the sealing technique. There is no need to overwhelm oneself with many skills. Even if it is not to break the root curse seal, mastering more advanced sealing techniques can improve the overall strength. After eating, Muyu thought for a while, and finally took out a blank scroll and started writing a mission report to Danzo. Although according to the current trend, Sarutobi Hiruzen should be asking for someone soon, but he had to open the champagne at half-time, and he wanted to be foolproof. Muyu wrote in it what happened today when Sarutobi Hiruzen came to inspect, and focused on describing how the 3rd generation praised and valued him, creating an atmosphere in which the 3rd generation was very optimistic about him and attracted him. He also wrote down the rewards given later to show how much the 3rd Hokage valued him. Only the content of the work arrangement scroll was not included in the report. If Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't have anyone with Danzo for a while, then this mission report can continue to maintain his loyal ninja character, and prevent Danzo from acting like a monster to a certain extent. Although he can be regarded as a ninja on a mission, Muyu does not believe in Danzo at all, and he tries his best to prevent possible accidents. If the 3rd generation wants someone soon as he expected, this scroll will not have any negative impact, and it can even prevent Danzo from sneaking up on him after he escapes from the route. This is the reason why Muyu didn't write down the work arrangements Sarutobi Hiruzen and him mentioned in the report. If it is not written down, even if the mission report submitted by Muyu this time ends up with the 3rd generation, Muyu will only complete the tasks assigned by Danzo responsibly, rather than being a die-hard loyalist. This work arrangement scroll is something Danzo doesn't know about. As long as Muyu doesn't leak it out, only the third generation and him will know about it, and Danzo won't know it unless he writes it down. Muyu put the written scroll on her body and went to the southern forest to teach her disciples. Good evening, Teacher Muyu. Obito and Nohara Rin also happened to arrive and greeted Muyu with smiles on their faces. Obito, Xiaolin, good evening too. Muyu responded with a smile. Since Nohara Rin also joined the forest training after school, Obito came a little earlier. Practice, and learn breathing techniques as soon as possible. Obito was very motivated today. Because Obito was unlucky during today's strength test, the number drawn was close to Shisui's. In the second round, he met Shisui and was beaten by Shisui. Fortunately, the actual combat test not only includes rankings but also scores. Although Obito was eliminated in the second round, he performed very well in both battles and scored very high, otherwise Muyu's rewards may be affected. Shisui was very strong, and Obito was convinced after being beaten, but he was still unwilling in his heart. Because Shisui is not only of the same race as him, he is also 2 years younger than him, but he can suppress him in battle. In the practice of Breath of Fire, Obito saw hope of catching up with Shisui. Breath of Fire is undoubtedly an extremely powerful secret technique, and he happens to have an unexpected talent in this secret technique. This is a good opportunity to overtake in a corner. As soon as Obito started practicing, he asked Muyu to help bind and fix him to assist in the practice. Seeing that Obito is so diligent, Muyu is very satisfied. School is about to start, and Obito's training mission will soon have the opportunity to settle. If Obito does not work hard to improve the Breath of Fire progress within this month, then this training mission will definitely fail. It is impossible for Muyu to interfere with Metkai because of the training task and then let Obito win first place. Second place is not without reward, so it won't be like this. The more correct approach should be to encourage Obito to practice harder. Since Metkai understood what he had taught before during the battle, Muyu was ready to start a new round of teaching. The next thing you have to do is to feel the power of the rock and try to integrate with the rock. Muyu said to Metkai. It sounds a bit abstract, but it is indeed an essential training process of breathing method, because breathing method is somewhat spiritual, and in the words of the Hokage, it has something to do with spiritual energy and yin escape. The stronger the belief, the stronger the breathing method. If the belief is weak, even the knife will become fragile. Try to merge with the rock. Metkai thought for a while, feeling as if he understood Muyu's idea, and used the transformation technique to turn himself into a stone. Teacher Muyu, do you want to practice breathing in this state? Metkai asked. Muyu didn't know how to answer for a while. In the memory of rock breathing practice in his mind, he completed this step while sitting on the stone. But if you think about it carefully, it would be better to become a stone than to sit on a stone. Why don't you try sitting on a stone and transforming into a stone? Muyu thought for a while and said. Only children make choices, he just wants them all, he just adds the two together. Metkai released the transformation spell, then found a big rock to sit on, and then used the transformation spell again. After the training was over, Muyu used the identification technique to take a look at Metkai. She still had the same proficiency level of 19 as yesterday, and there was no increase today. Muyu was not surprised. It was difficult to practice rock breathing, and the effect of the previous epiphany was almost exhausted. It will not be easy to rise so fast in the future. It is possible that it will not rise at all in 5 days. Muyu glanced at Obito's Breath of Fire proficiency. Obito's proficiency has steadily increased and now has 8 points of proficiency. What did Akayu do when he turned into a stone? Obito asked in confusion. Teacher Muyu asked me to fuse with the stone and feel the power of the rock. I thought that turning into a stone would be equivalent to merging with the stone. Metkai said honestly. Being integrated with the stone, is the subsequent training so difficult? Obito asked, scratching the back of his head after hearing Metkai's words. If the breath of rock is integrated with the rock, then doesn't his breath of fire need to be integrated with the flames? Can the transformation spell turn into flames, and also jump into the fire? Actually, I have a good idea. Kai, you can hollow out a rock and sleep in it. It will blend with the rock while you sleep. Your cultivation speed will definitely be very fast by then. Obito said with great imagination. Metkai showed a serious expression on his face. Then you want to sleep in the fire during the next training. Muyu put her fingers together and knocked Obito on the head. She also slept in the stone and understood the rock. The breathing method was not abstracted like this. Hehe, it's different. If you sleep in a fire, you'll be burned to death, but if you sleep on a stone, you'll be a little embarrassed at most. Obito chuckled. Perceive the power of the rock. Shisui showed a thoughtful expression. If it is just to sense the power of the elements, can the breath of fire comprehend the power of the flame through the practice of changing its nature? After the training, Muyu placed the scroll she carried with her at the location where she submitted the mission report, and then went home to wait for a reply. Early the next morning, Muyu noticed some movement and directly used the perception ninjutsu, and found that a person with strong chakra entered his courtyard. Muyu calmly stood up and walked out, and saw a ninja wearing a root uniform and a mask in the courtyard. The latest order from the organization. The root ninja said coldly and handed the 2 scrolls to Muyu. After completing the mission, the root ninja did not stay for a second and disappeared directly. Name: Ryuya Yamazaka. Chakra: 6,400. Skill: Heart-turning technique proficiency: 1,203 thousandths. Evaluation: a Junin with good supporting abilities. The root Jonin that once made Muyu uneasy has been crushed by Muyu on the panel. Muyu's chakra is more than twice that of Yamanaka Ryuya, and his skills are even more overwhelming. Muyu has a variety of mastery-level property changes and secret techniques, while Yamanaka Ryuya doesn't even have a mastery-level skill. It's meaningless to compare with this kind of ordinary root Junin. What level will Danzo's panel be? Muyu thought silently in her heart. If this was a world of cultivators, Genin, Chunin, and Jonin were not positions but training levels. He thought that Danzo should belong to the shadow level, but he was not strong among the shadow levels. He was the strongest among the shadows like Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Raikage, and Onoki. There is no comparison. Muyu opened the scroll, and the first scroll was Danzo's latest order. He was very satisfied with Muyu's ability to be promoted to the special Jonin Danzo, but Danzo told Muyu not to expose his identity as a member of the root organization and continue to work hard to perform tasks on this basis. Muyu summarized only that much useful content, and the rest were just brainwashing words, so Muyu simply ignored them. He could feel that Danzo was a little surprised that he could do this. Danzo sending him to the ninja school was probably just a casual move. After all, the original owner was not outstanding in all aspects. The other scroll is Danzo's commendation to him, but it's not about ninjutsu and money, but about the secret medicine of cultivation. Muyu burned the mission scroll and put away the secret medicine. He did not dare to eat the secret medicine given by Danzo, but the value of the secret medicine was not low, so Muyu did not burn it directly. Today is Sunday, and the summer special training just ended yesterday. Muyu gave the students half a day off. They don't have to practice in the afternoon. They only need to practice all morning. It just so happens that he goes to teach asthma in the afternoon. Where should we go to play if we have a rest in the afternoon? Before he started practicing, Obito was already thinking about where Nohara Rin should go to play. Sorry, Obito, I have to read the information at home today. Nohara Rin said apologetically. Recently, she has been learning about medical ninjutsu and has no time to play with Obito. Obito, you can play with Kakashi. Nohara Rin suggested. Think about it carefully, I can feel the chi in my body more clearly recently. Maybe the breath of fire is about to break through. Let's practice seriously in the afternoon. After thinking for a while, Obito decided to practice hard. He went to play with Kakashi alone after eating too much. Unless Obito achieved something worthy of showing off in front of Kakashi, then he could inform Kakashi. Training is not bad, we will graduate soon, and we will be ninjas by then. Nohara Rin said with a gentle smile. 2 semesters is not much, plus 7 months of vacation. Ninja, I'm so excited. Then I can do missions and earn money. I don't need the pocket money from my grandma, and I can also buy her gifts. After hearing Nohara Rin's words, Obito began to dream about his ninja career. You have to make money first, and then you have to have strength. The higher the amount, the more difficult the task. Muyu knocked on Obito, interrupting Obito's fantasy. Ninja is indeed a profession that makes money quickly. Leaving aside the S-level tasks that ordinary ninjas cannot access, the amount of tasks commissioned by the 3 levels of DCB is actually quite large. D-level tasks have a minimum of 5,000 taels and a maximum of 50,000 taels. C-level tasks range from 30,000 taels to 100,000 taels, and B-level tasks can receive a commission fee of up to 200,000 taels. This is why capable ninjas don't go to Chunin teachers. It's only 100,000 Ryo a month. 2 more C-level missions are more than that. Not every C-level mission can encounter Jonin opponents. In fact, normal C-level missions will not encounter ninja enemies. Ninja enemies may appear, so the mission level is B or above. Ninjas make a lot of money and spend money quickly. Good quality shuriken kunai are not cheap. Advanced ninja tools such as detonating charms are even more expensive. The secret medicine for practicing is also very expensive. Don't even think about using money to practice with a fixed amount of 100,000 taels a month. You simply can't afford to continue to be strong. But for those who want to be bad, the teacher of the ninja school is still a good choice. Because if you are not strong enough to complete C-level tasks quickly, you will not make much money in a month, and it is not easy at all to have to travel everywhere. It is better to stay comfortably in the ninja school and get a salary of 100,000 taels a month, and there are also bonuses for classes with good grades. And after stopping ninja training, I can enjoy all the 100,000 taels, and my life will be very nourishing. Obito chuckled twice and began today's breathing of flame practice. In the afternoon, Miyu went to Sarutobi Hiruzen's house as usual and took Asuma away for instruction. Miyu noticed that Asuma seemed to be in a bad mood, so she asked gently why. Because the person who asked was Miyu, Asuma told what happened yesterday, and even became more and more excited. He is like this every time, as if I am worthless in his eyes. When asked about his performance is always not good, and he always makes too many mistakes. He is not even willing to say that he is okay. Could it be that I was really so bad in that battle? Can it be worse? Asuma gradually choked up as he spoke, his eyes shrouded in mist. Miyu can only say that Asuma still has great feelings for Sarutobi Hiruzen, otherwise it would not be like this. Don't worry, you did your best in that battle, but Obito is stronger. Miyu touched Asuma's head to comfort him. In fact, he could understand Asuma's psychology at this time, because his parents in his previous life were also extremely demanding in terms of grades. Miyu's grades in junior high school are pretty good. He often gets high scores in mathematics and Chinese, and he often gets full marks in mathematics. But if Miyu gets a perfect score, his parents will tell him that the test is easy and that the teacher is lax in correcting papers. In short, he is not Miyu himself. Ability. But if there is no perfect score, then Miyu did not study hard and regressed. Over a long period of time, Miyu gradually lost confidence in herself. Later, due to an accident, she was left alone for 2 years and fell into a state of decline. She only woke up in her sophomore year of high school. Are his parents not wishing him well? No, he could see that his parents loved him, but his parents were very rough in teaching. They were worried that Miyu would become complacent and regress, and they hoped that Miyu would remain humble and eager to learn. Teacher, you can see it, why can't he, the Hokage, see it? Asuma was still very resentful. Fortunately, Miyu's favorability level with Asuma was high enough. She comforted him for a while, and said something about Sarutobi Hiruzen waiting for you on the road as a father, etc., which stabilized Asuma's mood. After the catharsis, Asuma's mood improved significantly after an afternoon of practice. Sarutobi Hiruzen, you have to work harder and don't let me down. Miyu said in her heart. He, a tutor, had to help maintain family relationships. It was really unkind and righteous. On Monday, Miyu went to the ninja school to attend the teacher's meeting. Teacher Miyu, good morning. Well, good morning to you too, Mr. Kubo. Teacher Miyu, have you had breakfast? Do you want to have a meal together after the meeting? I've eaten, thank you. In the morning, the news that Miyu might have been promoted to a special jonin had spread among the teachers, and many more people greeted Miyu. Fortunately, Miyu has a very good memory now. He can basically remember the names of everyone he has interacted with, and he can deal with them very calmly. The first meeting of the school year will be an all-teachers meeting, held in a lecture theater. But this time the third Hokage didn't come, the teacher's class monitor was in charge. The new semester has begun. I hope that everyone can continue to work hard in teaching and cultivate excellent ninjas for the village, said the monitor of the teacher's class. The monitor of the teacher's class is obviously a relatively ordinary leader. He opened his mouth to remind Mu of the time when the school leaders gave speeches. It's hard to say whether it was useful or not. Boring is quite boring. The first conference did not have much substantive content. Basically, it just brought out the cases of outstanding teachers from last semester for everyone to learn from. In addition, major job changes will also be discussed here. Teacher Mu will serve as the grade director of the first grade and be responsible for the teaching arrangements of the first grade. The monitor of the teacher's class said with a smile on Mu's position arrangement. Teacher Mu is an excellent teacher in our ninja school. During the holidays, she worked tirelessly to train the students. She is a role model for everyone to learn from. Mu stood up and responded. The teachers applauded enthusiastically, and no one was surprised. Except for the third generation as the nominal principal, Mu is now the only 3 Junin in the ninja school, and he is also a special Junin who was promoted due to his outstanding teaching ability. It is normal to be promoted. Jonin Mu, congratulations on your promotion. Kimura Shirin joked. Yes, Junin Mu, he was promoted from an ordinary teacher to grade director in 1 semester, which is enviable. Ikea Yuya followed with a smile on his face. Ueda Aya also participated. They both work in the same small office and have a good relationship, at least on the surface. Just call me Mu as before. It feels weird to lead a Junin, and it's not an official Junin, just a special Junin. Mu smiled gently. A special Junin is also a Junin, but it is indeed more comfortable to call him Mu. Ikegu Yang said with a smile. Teacher Mu, you can't help but celebrate your promotion and salary increase. Let's go to the izakaya for a drink tonight. I'll treat you. Ikegu Yang invited. There was still a lot of bonuses for outstanding teachers before, so he was very proud. I'll go too. The man in Kimura's shirt hooked Ikegu Isamu's shoulder and said. You can go, you pay for it yourself. Just ask Mu, and I'll pay for it myself. Kimura Shirin directly choked him. Okay, please help me. Seeing that Kimura Shanrin had borrowed money to make ends meet, Ikea decided to ask for help as well. What about me? Aya Ueda asked. Then Aya Ueda raised her voice and called out to Isamu Akari in a tone similar to shouting Gigi, which made Isamu Ike go goosebumps. She decisively expressed that everyone had a share. Mu smiled and nodded. This kind of relationship is okay. He doesn't dislike the occasional get-togethers with colleagues, but Mu is very busy, so he usually sends a shadow clone there, and even with the strength of Chiguyang and the others, they can't tell. Mu felt that there was no one left. His avatar who was suffering in all the worlds was in a completely different situation. The main body was working hard to teach students, while the avatar went to drink and have dinner. There is no way, the clone has no effective skills. In order for the students to become stronger as soon as possible, he tries his best to teach the original body so that the students can get the blessing of the taught skills. In the afternoon, Mu was in a meeting again, but this meeting was not a conference but a small meeting. The only teachers participating in the meeting were the grade directors and deans of each grade, and it was held in the conference room. The dean is the monitor of the teacher's class. There is a lot of substantive content in this meeting, which is basically to decide on the teaching arrangements for this semester. Director Shimo, I have an idea that can alleviate the teaching pressure on teachers. Mu said. Everyone looked at Mu. Although Mu was a newcomer, no one dared to underestimate Mu. This teacher was valued by the Sandaime Hokage. Shimono Hasanobu nodded with a smile and said, teachers are really under a lot of teaching pressure now, and the courses are very full. I wonder what teacher Mu can do. Integrate the curriculum and conduct large class teaching. Mu said. Arrange the same courses for 2 or more classes at the same time and teach them together by one teacher. Originally, 3 classes would need 3 teachers to teach. If the class is taught in a large class, only 1 teacher will be needed. The teachers in the conference room all looked thoughtful. They felt that Mu's idea was indeed a good one and was very useful in reducing the pressure on teachers. Will this affect the quality of students' learning? Shimono Hasanobu thought for a while and said. That sounds great, but can one teacher handle so many students? Even if the teacher is under great pressure, it cannot affect the quality of students' teaching. I have tried large class teaching in the summer special training, and the effect is quite good, and the students have made good progress. Mu Yu explained with a smile. There were 2 grade directors present who followed the 3rd generation to visit. Indeed, I remember that teacher Mu Yu taught in 3 groups. A teacher from another grade said, "Well, there are 359 people in total. I divided them into 3 groups for teaching according to their learning progress." Mu Yu replied, "In fact, we can conduct pilot teaching first, such as teaching only to the 1st grade and conducting experiments in theoretical classes first," Mu Yu said. He has already prepared the relevant rhetoric and rehearsed various scenarios, and it is still within his expectations. Only in the 1st grade, and it's only a theoretical class. Shimono Hasanobu thought for a while and thought it was feasible. It's still early for the 1st grade to graduate, so it doesn't matter if you put in a semester's work, and you can accept it even if your hips are stretched in theoretical classes, as long as you don't decline in actual practice. Then you, Teacher Muyu, will be responsible for this matter." Shimono Hasanobu finally nodded in approval. "Well, I will do my best." Muyu smiled and nodded. Everything went as he expected. Next, as long as he arranges more big lessons for himself, improves the strength of the annual class to get a wave of promotion rewards, plus Obito takes the 1st place in the training task, his strength will soon usher in a wave of small improvements. Rise. On the other side, Danzo was informed by the Anbu to go to the Hokage's office. Danzo didn't have any thoughts about this. As a senior leader of Konoha, he held an important position. It was normal for the 3rd generation to discuss matters with him. Danzo walked into the Hokage's office without knocking. When Danzo entered, Sarutobi Hiruzen was standing in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling window of the Hokage's office, looking down at Konoha. The Hokage building is very tall, so high that you can have a panoramic view of the main city of Konoha from the top of the Hokage building. "Hiruzen, do you have something to discuss?" Danzo asked. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around and nodded and said, "Take a look at the information on my desk." Danzo walked to the desk, picked up the information on it and started to look through it. The words Hanyu Mozuki came into view instantly. Danzo's eyes narrowed slightly when he saw Muyu's name, and a guess immediately flashed through his mind. He was discovered just after reminding him not to reveal his identity. How incompetent, Danzo thought to himself. However, as an old actor, Danzo's expression did not change at all. He quickly read through the information. There was nothing else on it, only some information about Muyu. "Isn't it just that we have newly promoted a special Junin with outstanding educational ability, and you and I need to confirm it together?" Danzo said calmly. Since Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't make it clear, he pretended not to know anything. Hearing Danzo's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen laughed out loud. "Haha, Danzo, are you sure this is just an ordinary special Junin?" Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Danzo with a smile. Does he have other special qualities besides his strong teaching ability recorded in the data? Danzo was still pretending to be stupid. It was impossible for him to voluntarily admit to sending people to the ninja school. Sarutobi Hiruzen put the pipe into his mouth, puffed out a puff of smoke and said, "Duanzo, you don't have to pretend to be stupid with me here. I know that he is a root member of your illegal training." Then Sarutobi Hiruzen threw some information to Danzo. Danzo's expression suddenly changed after reading it. It contained not only the information about his secret training of Muyu, but also some other information about Anzi's training. How did he know? Danzo was a little confused. He didn't expect that his so-called secrets were actually transparent in front of the 3rd generation. Although Danzo established another Anbu, the root, under the slogan of training Anbu, Sarutobi Hiruzen was not stupid. He could not watch Danzo's power expand infinitely, so he limited the number of members of the root. This is the reason why Danzo cultivates secret disciples like Muyu. He doesn't give them to them openly, so he can only cultivate additional members secretly. I did all this to protect Konoha. The number of root members you specified cannot protect the safety of Konoha. Danzo not only failed to admit his mistake, but instead tried to get Sarutobi Hiruzen to relax the restrictions of the root. Now that the war is about to begin, Konoha needs more root personnel to protect Konoha. Hiruzen, don't tell me that you think Konoha can stay out of it. Danzo wanted to change the topic from illegal training to whether Konoha would be involved in the war and how to protect Konoha. But Danzo is an expert. Hiruzen Sarutobi, who has been Hokage for decades, is even more expert than Danzo. He knows Danzo thoughts well and was not confused by Danzo words. He knocked on the table and said, "For now, let's not talk about anything else. Let's discuss your illegal training of additional members. There are 5 people here, 3 of them are descendants of war heroes. How dare you attack them, Danzo? Do you want to destroy Konoha's will of fire?" Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes became sharp, and he stared at Danzo with a very oppressive look. The so-called war heroes are ninjas who died in the war. For example, Miyu's parents who died in the war are considered war heroes. Danzo didn't say anything. Normal children wouldn't be so easy to fool and take advantage of. The descendants of ninjas like Miyu were generally not too bad in talent. I am also cultivating talents for Konoha. Danzo thought for a while and quibbled. Hasn't that Hanyu Mozuki been promoted to a special Junin by you? Isn't he considered a talent? Maybe he would be better if you didn't interfere. Sarutobi Hiruzen said unceremoniously. In his opinion, Miyu is indeed a talented person with outstanding teaching ability and a very good talent in sealing arts. She can also use water escape and fire escape fairly well, and she is also very good at dealing with people. Miyu is not suitable to stay at the root. Tomorrow you come to the Hokage building to eliminate the curse mark on him. Sarutobi Hiruzen said his ultimate purpose. Getting Miyu was his goal today, and beating Danzo was incidental. What do you mean, Hiruzen? I spent all my energy to cultivate him. I am the leader of the root. Danzo said with clenched fists. Although Miyu was not a root member that he valued, being asked to leave like this was like having the fruit of a tree that was planted with hard work being picked away by others. It was aggrieved. If you reject me, you will regret it, Sarutobi Hiruzen said calmly. Danzo's face was uncertain, and he did not answer Sarutobi Hiruzen's words for the time being. Then what should I do with the resources I spent on him? Danzo asked. Sarutobi sighed and pointed at the information on the table. Danzo instantly understood what Sarutobi Hiruzen meant, and there was no need to compensate for the illegal training. Danzo took a deep breath and said coldly, "I will come tomorrow." After speaking, Danzo turned around and left. When he reached the door, he spoke again, "Hiruzen, you will regret it. I am the Hokage," Sarutobi Hiruzen reminded while sitting on the chair. Boom! The wooden door of the office was slammed shut. As soon as he walked out of the office, Danzo's expression returned to normal instantly. It's just that a special Junin was asked to leave. He might be unhappy, but he would never be particularly angry. The reason why he showed an extremely angry look in the office was just to express his anger and let Sarutobi Hiruzen make compensation. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want to compensate, but correspondingly, except for Miyu, the other 4 people who were trained in violation of regulations could be treated as if Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't see them. This was the subtext of Sarutobi Hiruzen pointing to the information on the table, so except for Miyu, the 2 of them didn't talk to anyone else. Except for Miyu's 4 people, they will basically be members of the root organization by default from now on, but they will not be on the official member list of the root organization. Fortunately, A was not discovered. Danzo thought to himself. Danzo's heart skipped a beat when he saw the list of Dark Ones, thinking that the wooden ninja he was hiding had been discovered. As long as his wooden ninja is not discovered and all the other secrets are exposed, Danzo feels that the loss is not great. He believes in the power of wooden. As long as the wooden ninja can be trained, who can say who has the final say in Konoha in the future? However, on the way back to the roots, Danzo still felt a little angry. Yesterday, he was thinking that after Miyu became a high-ranking member of the ninja school, he would have one more place within Konoha's reach. As a result, Miyu was asked to leave today. Go and tell the knight to come over. After returning to the root base, Danzo ordered his men. Miyu did not go to the main city of Konoha at night, but studied sealing techniques in the house in the southern forest. Sensing someone moving quickly nearby, Miyu temporarily put down her practice and walked out. "Yi, Danzo-sama has something to ask you," the root ninja said calmly. "Do you need me to change into uniform?" Yu asked. Although there is no official establishment of Jinbi, he still has the uniform and mask of Jinbi. No need, just follow me. The root ninja shook his head and said. Yu followed the root ninja silently, vaguely guessing something in her mind. The day before yesterday, I asked him to be careful not to reveal his identity. Today, he was asked to go to the root base openly and openly. Obviously, his identity no longer needs to be hidden. If nothing else, I may have experienced a shadow of regret in the Hokage's office today or yesterday. Although the next step was to go to the root base camp, Yu was not too panicked. He had just reported the situation to Danzo a few days ago and told him all the rewards given to him by the third generation. That was called being loyal. He is now registered with the third generation, and he is also a loyal character at the root, focusing on stability. Lord Danzo. After arriving at the root base, Yu greeted Danzo with respect. You are excellent. Danzo suddenly said. It's all thanks to your training, Danzo-sama. Without your training, Danzo-sama, I would just be an ordinary orphan. Yu said respectfully. You know, the third Hokage values you very much. Danzo continued. Maybe so. On the day after the special training, he praised me many times and gave me 2 ninjutsu and 300,000 taels. Yu answered according to the report she had written before. By the way, my position in the ninja school has also been promoted today. I have become the grade director of the first grade. I may have been promoted by the Sandaime. Yu added. Danzo nodded, looking thoughtful. Danzo was testing whether Yu knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to leave Yu. After some testing, coupled with the mission report from the previous few days, and his confidence in his brainwashing skills, Danzo was temporarily convinced that Yu was loyal to him. I discussed it with the Sandaime and felt that your talent, Yu, should be used to cultivate ninjas in the ninja school instead of continuing to stay at the root. Danzo thought for a while and said. Tomorrow I will go to the Hokage building to help you remove the root curse seal on your body. From now on, you will no longer be a root ninja. Lord Danzo, could it be that I did something bad? Why should I be fired from the root? Yu said with a look of fear. Danzo-sama, I want to protect Konoha with you. Yu was extremely calm at this time. He definitely didn't believe Danzo's lies. He even discussed with Sarutobi Hiruzen to better utilize his talents, but he was probably forced to leave. Since Danzo was going to act, he would act with Danzo. Danzo is a good leader who reluctantly lets go in order to bring out the best in his subordinates, while Yu is a good subordinate who is loyal to his roots. Looking at Yu's performance, Danzo nodded with satisfaction. No matter what, Yu is loyal to his roots and loyal to Shimura Danzo. No, you did a good job, but now you have a more important task. Danzo said slowly. Although you are no longer a member of the root organization, if one day my order reaches your hands again, will you still complete it? Of course we have to complete it. Danzo-sama's mission is an important task to protect Konoha. Yu said without hesitation. Danzo smiled and handed Yu 2 scrolls. One of them is a high-level fire escape ninjutsu in the village, and the other is practicing secret medicine. You will continue to work hard in the future. I will inform you when I need you. Danzo said. Danzo is not worried that his investment will fail. Even if Yu is no longer loyal in the future, Danzo will have a way to make him loyal. The resources at his roots are not so easy to get. I will definitely not let down your hard work, Lord Danzo. Yu said with a moved face. If there were more ninjas like Yu in the roots, I wouldn't have to worry about no one protecting Konoha. Danzo said with satisfaction. You go back, practice hard in the future, and wait for my call. Yu finally left with a look of reluctance, giving Danzo an appraisal before leaving. Name: Shimura Danzo. Chakra: 69,000. Skills: Wind Attribute Chakra Nature Change Mastery, 4,415 thousandths. Wind Release Vacuum Wave Mastery, 315 thousandths. Potential: S Basic Talent plus Sharingan. As he thought, Danzo should have the strength of a Cage Level 1, but not particularly outstanding. Compared with his old classmate Sarutobi Hiruzen, Danzo's board is much worse. Not to mention the chakra difference is more than 100,000, and his skills are also incomparable. Unlike Sarutobi Hiruzen, all 5 basic properties have changed. Mastery level: mastery level skill proficiency is much worse than Sarutobi Hiruzen, mastery level ninjutsu is not many, all are wind release. However, Muyu did not underestimate Danzo. In any case, Danzo was much stronger than him now. Although he is not very proficient in ninjutsu, Danzo has mastered a lot of forbidden techniques, which is quite difficult to deal with in actual combat. Just look at his battle with Mangekyo Sasuke and you will know that without the help of Obito, Sasuke may overturn. After walking some distance away from the root base, the expression on Muyu's face gradually returned to normal. You still don't want to let go of someone you want for the third generation. Stalking too much will make people bored. Muyu sighed in a low voice. He really wants to develop peacefully and do what he can when he develops to a certain level of strength. But Danzo always seemed not to want to make it easy for him. Suddenly, the root ninjas in the yard would appear, and they would not give up and call Muyu to the root even if they wanted to let him go. Muyu is very dissatisfied with Danzo, and he is also dissatisfied with the roots. He is also dissatisfied with this dangerous world full of lunatics. If his strength can reach a level that is enough to suppress everything in the future, Muyu would not mind standing in the sky for once and making the world a little normal. After returning home, Muyu took out the scroll given by Danzo and took a look at it. After discovering that the so-called advanced fire escape ninjutsu was the fire dragon flame bomb that he had mastered, Muyu immediately lost interest. As for the secret medicine for practicing, Muyu threw it into the corner without even bothering to look at it. Muyu continues to study sealing techniques. Judging from the current situation, Danzo seems to want to use him as a nail into the third generation. Then the research on the sealing technique cannot be stopped. Danzo may suddenly have to put a new curse seal on him one day. Muyu feels that it should not be the same day when it is released. That would be a slap in the face if Sarutobi Hiruzen finds out. Finally mastered it. Muyu nodded secretly in her mind as she looked at the 5 elements seal, which she had finally mastered, and then directly smashed a skilled scroll onto it, and a large amount of sealing technique knowledge appeared in her mind. In a world where strength is paramount, only your own strength is the most reliable. Muyu went to work at the ninja school as usual in the morning. As the grade director and the person in charge of the large class pilot program, he had to arrange the class schedule before the students came to school. Muyu thought for a while and decided that the number of classes in the large class would be 4, and the 4 classes would take theoretical classes together in the large classroom. First, the number of people was too small and he was afraid that he would not be able to trigger the rewards of the big class. Second, there are exactly 8 classes in the first grade, which can be taught by 2 different teachers to compare the situation. One of them must be himself. As for the remaining Muyu, he is going to ask which theory teacher is more reliable and let the more reliable teacher teach, so that the results will not be too different by then. With this big class lined up, many first-year teachers' schedules instantly became much easier. Muyu's setting is equivalent to a class that originally required 4 teachers being taught by 1 teacher, and 3 teachers can take a break during this time. A first-grade teacher heard about Muyu's big class plan and came to the office to inquire about the situation with Muyu and thank her. With Teacher Muyu, our small office has become a lot more lively. Aya Ueda said with a smile. Their office space is relatively small, with only 6 teachers. After all, Teacher Muyu is now in charge of the teaching arrangements for the first grade. Kimura Shirin nodded. I think Teacher Muyu's idea is really good. Why don't we just implement it for the whole school? We have to try it in the first grade first. Kai Gyeong likes Muyu's big lesson plan very much. Because he has the most classes here. If there is a mechanism like big classes, he will definitely be more relaxed in the future and have more time to date the goddess. Muyu smiled and said nothing. At noon, a ninja found Muyu and asked Muyu to go to the Hokage's office. Mugetsu walked into the Hokage building and met Danzo on the way to the Hokage's office. Lord Danzo. Muyu greeted Danzo. However, Danzo no longer had the smile at his roots yesterday. Danzo continued to move forward with an indifferent expression, as if he had not heard Muyu's voice. Danzo Mugetsu walked into the Hokage's office one after another. Danzo, please remove the root curse mark on Muyu. Sandai said. Lord Sandame Hokage, I. Muyu looked surprised at first, and then wanted to explain something but was interrupted by the third Hokage. Yu, I know you have a lot of doubts. Let's talk about those later. Sandai interrupted. Stick out your tongue, Danzo said coldly. Yu did as she was told and stuck out her tongue. The root cause of the tongue curse is eliminated. Danzo mobilized his chakra and pointed his tongue at Yu. The curse mark on Yu's tongue quickly dissipated without leaving any trace, as if it had never existed before. HMPH. Danzo snorted and left the Hokage's office without saying anything. I'm sorry, Sandaime-sama. After Danzo left, Yu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a look of shame. Muyu, how can you be sorry for me? I have to thank you for helping to take care of Asuma's child. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a kind smile. The relationship between him and Asuma has been a bit tense these days, but after being taught by Yu at the weekend, the relationship has eased a lot. Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally knows whose credit it is. The reason why Yu was taken over was because Asuma had a certain amount of weight. Actually, I was sent to the ninja school by the root organization. Yu revealed herself with a guilty look on her face. So what, although Danzo's motives for sending you to school are impure, I can see that you are really teaching seriously and you are really doing your best as you said. Otherwise, there is no way to bring out such an outstanding class as the first class in a year, and there is no way to improve the strength of special training students in just 5 weeks and gain their trust. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. In fact, he also thought it was quite strange. Yu, an ordinary ninja who had no sense of existence at the beginning, actually had extraordinary talents in teaching, and he happened to be sent to the ninja school by Danzo. But, Yu still looked guilty. There are not so many, but I promoted you to a special junin, gave you ninjutsu, promoted you to a grade director, and brought you out of your roots. Do I need to feel guilty from you for doing this? What I need is for you to work harder in the future to cultivate better ninjas for Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed out his kindness to Yu. Although he said that Yu did not need to feel guilty, the third generation still deliberately pointed out all the benefits he had given Yu. Because this is an excellent opportunity to gain favor with him, the more guilty Yu feels towards him, the more loyal she will be to him when the time comes. Muyu, you are a person with outstanding teaching talents. From now on, you can complete your teaching work at the ninja school with peace of mind and don't have to worry about other things. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. Sandaime-sama, I understand. I will definitely work hard to bring out more outstanding students and cultivate more outstanding ninjas for the village. Yu said with a grateful look. In order to reduce the burden on the teachers, and also to try new teaching methods, I am planning to teach large classes at the ninja school. Yu took the opportunity to tell Hiruzen Sarutobi that he was going to take a big class, thus showing that he really cared about the education of the ninja school every day. It does sound like a good plan. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. Then Sarutobi Hiruzen joked and sighed. If every teacher in the school had your teaching level, Muyu, I think this plan would not need to be piloted and could just be implemented directly. Afterwards, the atmosphere between the two became better and better. Sandai felt that he had gained another reliable talent, and Muyu finally got rid of the curse mark that worried him. But what makes Muyu feel speechless is that Danzo still doesn't trust him and is still conducting Pua on him. After Muyu returned home at night, he received another scroll from the root. But this time the scroll had no orders or tasks, it was all for brainwashing. Probably the content is that the reason why she was so cold to him during the day was because she was worried that Sarutobi Hiruzen would see that Muyu was still loyal to her roots and to Danzo. In order for Muyu to have a better future with the third generation, Danzo acted coldly and indifferently. Muyu was also convinced. She was favored by Hiruzen Sarutobi at noon, and when she came back in the evening, she had to read Danzo's Pua scroll. This day was so exciting. At the end of the day, Muyu felt that her acting skills had improved a lot. Muyu wrote calligraphy for 10 minutes to calm down, and then began to learn contract seals. After upgrading the 5 elements seal to the proficiency level, Muyu gained a lot of sealing skills knowledge and learned the contract seal very quickly. By the time she was about to go to bed, she already had 20 points of proficiency in the contract seal. Teacher Muyu, I seem to be successful. During training in the evening, Obito suddenly said with a look of surprise. Try your physical skills and attack me. Muyu took a look and said. Although the most powerful effect of Breath of Fire is to enhance the power of fire escape, it can also enhance physical abilities to a certain extent. This is a function of the breathing method, and it is also the first feature to appear. Obito is not yet ready to strengthen fire escape. Obito adjusted his breathing rhythm, recalled the feeling just now, inhaled a large amount of oxygen into his body, strengthened his body, and then rushed towards Muyu in one stride. Muyu firmly caught Obito's straight punch and felt that Obito was a little faster. He quickly threw Obito out, and Obito quickly kicked out the tornado kick. After holding Obito's legs and throwing Obito out of Muyu, he already had a judgment in his mind. We have indeed made a breakthrough. After practicing the breathing movements until school starts, we should be able to proceed to the next step of practice. Muyu said. When you proceed to the next step of practice, you will gradually begin to reveal the characteristics of the Breath of Fire, not just a blessing of physical abilities. We still have to practice for 5 more days. Obito recalled the date and said. He thought he could start practicing the same as Metkai immediately today. Snapped. Muyu brought her 2 fingers together and tapped Obito's head and said, "Don't be too ambitious. Kai was much more proficient in breathing than you when he first started to comprehend the attributes. Obito is only at 12 points of proficiency now, and Metkai was already at 19 when he started to understand the properties of the breathing method. However, Metkai's situation is also a bit special. Muyu estimates that Obito will be proficient in the breathing method of flames in 5 days. After all, it should be above 15 o'clock, and then you can proceed to the next step of practice." Muyu used the appraisal to take a look at Shisui, who was still getting used to breathing in various postures. Shisui's current breathing progress of inflammation is still a little worse than Obito, but the difference is not much, only 2 points of proficiency. I thought it would be enough if I could use the breathing method to strengthen it. Obito said, rubbing his head. Leaving the shadow clone to look after the 2 of them, Muyu went to check on Metkai's practice status. What can I say about the practice in Metkai? It is indeed a bit abstract. Here you can see a strange scene of a stone with arms and legs stepping on a big stone and holding a stone in both hands. Akai, did you feel anything special today? Muyu asked. Yes, Metkai replied. Muyu used the appraisal on Metkai and found that the proficiency level was still 19 points. She was a little doubtful that Metkai would not lie about the progress. The stone is really hot after being heated by the sun. Metkai expressed his feelings. It was okay in the evening, but when the sun was shining brightly in the afternoon, it was really hot for my hands and feet. Muyu didn't know what to say for a moment. He felt that Obito had led Metkai astray. When the sun is high, just find a shady place and sit on the rocks. Muyu thought for a moment and said. He hadn't come here yet in the afternoon and morning. It was probably Metkai who was practicing on his own. Muyu speculated that if he continued at this pace, Metkai should be able to start breathing rock by the time he graduates if he was fast, and if he was slow, it might take about 10 months. It was originally expected to be 1 year, but Metkai had an experience of rapid progress, which was equivalent to saving 2 months of time. After successfully learning rock breathing, coupled with the improvement in physical fitness during the practice of rock breathing, and the other physical skills learned, Muyu felt that it was time for Metkai to try to complete the training task of challenging Kakashi. I wonder if the rewards for a training mission that spans nearly a year will be better. Muyu thought in her mind. The ninja school is about to start, and there will be an exam 1 month after the start of the school. At that time, Obito's training tasks will be settled, and Muyu should also think about how to let Obito trigger new training tasks. If Obito loses to Metkai and takes 2nd place, it's very simple, just complete the training mission to take 1st place again. If he wins 1st place, Muyu is ready to guide Obito to challenge Kakashi. This is currently a better choice, and as the result obtained by Muyu after analyzing a series of influencing factors such as Obito's personality, goals, dreams, and interpersonal relationships. Obito has the dream of becoming Hokage, but now it seems that he cannot accomplish tasks that are too far away. For example, Metkai cannot accomplish the task of training to become the strongest, and Shisui cannot accomplish the mission of changing Uchiha. In the near future, it is only appropriate to challenge Kakashi. First of all, Kakashi is strong enough as a target to be challenged, which is related to the reward of the task. Secondly, He also has a special relationship with Obito, which makes it easier to trigger the task. Obito may have other ideas, like Nohara-rin or something, but Muyu thinks that it is impossible for the system to give out the task of teaching Obito to fall in love. Can that thing be called a training task? I wonder if one disciple will be promoted to trust level 4 by the end of this year. Muyu thought about the trust level that no disciple has improved for a long time. Although the existence of trust level is not high, Muyu believes that trust is one of the cores of the master-disciple system. When the trust level was 2, he could not get the mastery level reward no matter how much he mobilized his emotions. When the trust level was 3, he only got mastery properties, physical skills, etc., and the training mission was only triggered after the trust level 3. Not to mention anything else, just the doubling of chakra increase every time the trust level was raised made Muyu want to reach the full trust level of all his disciples. Even if Obito and the others are still young, the triple bonus of 3 people can provide him with a lot of chakra in a month. When the disciples develop, the difference will become even greater. Imagine Muyu trained a disciple with more than 100,000 chakras from scratch, then each level of trust is a difference of more than 100,000 chakras. Muyu feels that her skill is quite powerful, but it needs time to develop. If you give him time, he will develop into an all-powerful and invincible strong man sooner or later. Speaking of which, school is about to start again. I feel like this vacation is so short. When the training was about to end, Obito said with emotion. It was obviously almost 2 months of vacation, but he felt as if only a few days had passed. I think it's because I live a fulfilling life. I train at the training ground during the day and go to teacher Muyu's place to practice at night. Nohara-Lin said softly. This vacation was very short for all 4th grade students, and 5 weeks of special training were conducted during the vacation. I feel like it's better to continue special training when school starts, and my strength will improve faster. Obito missed the special training. Obito, you don't want to learn theoretical knowledge, right? Nohara-Lin asked. When Obito was training to race with Metkai, Nohara-Rin could not help but see Obito receiving the test papers with a painful look on his face. Of course not, I just think theory and practice are more important than theory. Obito refused to admit it. Actually, you can use clones. Shisui said, let the clone go to school, and the main body can continue to practice. Since the first exam in the 1st grade, Shisui has not gone to class. He has always gone to class as a shadow clone. He will only go to the exam. Can the clone of the clone jutsu last that long? It feels like it disappears too easily and is easily discovered. Obito asked doubtfully. It's not a clone technique, it's a shadow clone technique. Shisui shook his head and said. The clone created by the shadow clone technique has an entity in the same consciousness as the original body. After the shadow clone is released, the memory of the shadow clone will return. It is no different from going to class by yourself. Shisui explained. So it's such a convenient ninjutsu. Obito was shocked. Although he watched Muyu use shadow clones every day, he really didn't expect that he could use shadow clones to replace the main body to go to school. Shisui, you are so skilled, could it be that? Obito looked at Shisui in surprise. I only went to class as my main body before the first exam. After that, I went to class as a shadow clone. The main body was practicing here. Shisui replied calmly. Obito grabbed Shisui's shoulders with a look of joy and said, Shisui-gen is truly a genius. You have thought of such a good idea. Obito thought it was strange that Shisui was stronger than him, but he practiced hard every day, but in the end, the difference in strength did not close at all. It turned out that Shisui practiced intensely every day. Putting aside the matter of increasing his strength for now, the key is that he doesn't have to go to ninja school anymore, and the memories after studying will automatically appear in his mind. I would like to call the person who developed the shadow clone technique the clone sage. He is definitely a super genius. Obito couldn't help but praise. In just a moment, Obito thought of ways to use the shadow clone other than going to school, such as letting the shadow clone do questions. Then he would no longer need to do the questions himself. Once the questions were solved, he could also gain experience in doing the questions. This technique was probably developed by the second Hokage Senju Tobirama. There seems to be relevant records in Konoha history too. Nohara-Rin thought for a while and said. It turns out he was the second Hokage. No wonder he was able to develop such a ninjutsu. Obito wrote down the name Senju Tobarama. The two major worries of learning theory and solving problems were solved at once, and Obito recognized Senju Tobarama as the second-generation Hokage. Seeing Obito's excited face, Shisui felt that Obito might have thought something wrong. If you just hate studying theory so you let the shadow clone go to school, then it is meaningless, because the moment the shadow clone comes back, Obito will feel the same as when the original body went to school. Teacher Muyu told me this. Zishui shook his head and said, Teacher Muyu, you are a bit biased. You didn't tell me such a good thing. Obito looked at Muyu with extremely resentful eyes. Snapped. Muyu knocked Obito on the head and explained. The reason why Shisui can use his shadow clone to go to school is because he can no longer learn anything in school and can't find an opponent. Can you do it at that time? In fact, there are some other reasons. At that time, Obito was not as active in cultivation as he is now. Obito thought about it and it seemed that it was really not good. He didn't even make the top 2 that time. Both he and Metkai were eliminated by the Hyuga Fire Gate. Hey, Teacher Muyu, I should be fine now. I also want to learn the shadow clone technique. Obito's resentful eyes instantly turned into desire and expectation. Teacher, I want to learn too. Metkai was also excited when he heard that he could go to school instead of his real body. Although he is just slow to learn ninjutsu, it's not that he can't learn ninjutsu. I will teach you tomorrow morning. From tomorrow to the day before school starts, you will practice all day in the next 4 days. Muyu thought for a while and said. Although he has work at the ninja school, it is almost completed there. It is enough to send a shadow clone for the next thing. Anyway, there are no courses for him to earn rewards. As for why it is 4 days instead of 5 days to practice all, because if you use the shadow clone to go to school, the amount of training this semester will be greatly increased, and that day will be regarded as a holiday before hard training. The next morning, Obito couldn't wait to go to the southern forest to learn the god-level ninja shadow clone technique in his heart. Muyu planned the training time for them. From 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock in the morning, half of it was used to learn ninjutsu and half to practice breathing techniques. Shisui, who had already learned it, practiced in that half of the time. Other ninjutsu. From 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock is the rest time. You can go home to eat and take a nap. If you don't go back, Muyu will cook for them, and then from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you can only go home to eat by yourself. Xiaolin, I tell you, don't leave at noon, you must try Teacher Muyu's cooking. Obito reminded. Due to the timing of joining, Nohara Lin has not eaten Muyu cooking yet. The rice cooked by Muyu was so delicious that Obito would always finish the meal here and then go home to see his grandma and rest for a while. Is Teacher Muyu good at cooking? Nohara Lin was a little curious. He's not the kind that won't be a problem, he's really that kind, very special. Obito described incoherently for a while. In short, I have never eaten anything more delicious than Teacher Muyu's cooking. Obito concluded. Nohara Rin, who had planned to go home for lunch, nodded. Obito's description was too exaggerated, which made her a little curious about how delicious it must be for Obito to praise it so much. When the training time came, Nohara Lin put away her curiosity and began to practice according to Muyu's instructions. When using the shadow clone technique, you must act within your capabilities. It is best for you to only create one shadow clone technique now. Muyu told Obito and Metkai about the dangers of the shadow clone technique. The shadow clone jutsu seems to be an ordinary ninjutsu, but in fact it is also dangerous. In order to prevent people from not knowing how much they weigh, multiple shadow clones, which can create a large number of shadow clones at once, have been directly classified as forbidden techniques. After explaining the dangers clearly, Muyu started teaching. The learning difficulty of shadow clone jutsu is B, but it is considered one of the easiest to learn among B-level ninjutsu, so it is not very difficult. After studying for 2 hours, Obito began to form the seal to release the shadow clone. Shadow clone technique. A flash of white smoke flashed, and Obito appeared lying on the ground. Mistake, come again. Obito released the shadow clone and used it again. White smoke flashed, and a fat version of Obito appeared. Afraid of being seen by Nohara Rin, Obito quickly dispelled the shadow clone and said with a serious look on his face. As expected of the ninjutsu invented by the Nadaime Hokage, the difficulty is very extraordinary. It is much more difficult than the body technique. Ha ha ha, Akai, what are you doing? Obito couldn't hold back after seeing Metkai's shadow clone. I saw a stone with arms and legs standing next to Metkai, still exercising. Well, my mind has been full of rocks these past few days. It happened accidentally. Metkai couldn't help but laugh. Haha, this is too funny. I'm going to ask Shisui to come over and take a look. Obito couldn't stop the smile on his face as he looked at the magical stone. Konoha Whirlwind. The stone shadow clone directly struck out with a heavy kick, and kicked Obito away, who was laughing so hard that he couldn't stand up with a whirlwind kick, and then continued to lift things on the spot. Akai, why are you hitting me? Obito spat out the grass in his mouth and asked Metkai. The shadow clone did it. You should ask him. Metkai didn't think he was the one who hit Obito. Akai, shadow clone, why are you hitting me? Obito thought it made sense, so he asked the shadow clone. However, the stone shadow clone did not respond. Obito suddenly thought of something. This shadow clone has no mouth, so how can he talk? Then Obito had no chance to continue questioning, because Metkai released the shadow clone. Miyu's mouth twitched as she looked at this abstract scene. The shadow clones Obito and Metkai were considered geniuses. It's time to practice breathing techniques. Miyu reminded the two of them that it was time to practice breathing techniques. When it was time for the breathing method, several people's training positions changed. Obito and Shisui practiced the breath of fire together, and Metkai practiced the breath of rock alone. Shisui, you can't imagine how funny something just happened. Obito was ready to share the fun he had just gained with Shisui. Oh, Shisui was a little curious. Metkai and Obito were probably practicing shadow clones just now. He didn't understand what other funny things could happen while practicing shadow clones. Akai just separated a stone with arms and legs. Obito still feels funny when he thinks about it now. In order to make Shisui understand more clearly, Obito used the clone technique to create a clone that looked like Metkai, and then used the transformation technique to become the shadow clone of Metkai just now. The clone that looked like Metkai scratched his head and looked confused, while Obito's body stood nearby and imitated the stone shadow clone's lifting of something. Your shadow clone is very unique. Shisui had to admit that Obito and Metkai would be able to survive. As the happy practice time passed, it soon came to the meal period that all the disciples were looking forward to. Wow, it's actually magic Mapo tofu today, Xiaolin, you're in for a treat. When he opened the lunchbox and saw the food in it, Obito's index finger twitched. Muyu's dishes are all delicious, but there are some differences among them. Magic Mapo tofu is one of the most delicious ones, Obito thinks. Nohara Lin looked at the bright red color in the lunchbox and felt a little uneasy. It looked too spicy. We can't waste food, and we can't live up to Teacher Muyu's wishes. With this thought in mind, Nohara Lin closed her eyes and took a spoonful of food and stuffed it into her mouth. It's so spicy and delicious. As soon as she took the first bite, Nohara Rin fell in love with this dish instantly. Unlike the spicy food she imagined, Magic Mapo tofu is not that spicy, and it also has other equally excellent flavors. She finally understood why Obito admired Miyu's cooking skills so much. Nohara Lin wanted to learn cooking from Miyu, so that she could eat such delicious food every day without bothering Miyu. After practicing for 2.5 days, Obito finally mastered the shadow clone technique on the afternoon of the third day. Shadow clone technique. Obito formed a seal to condense chakra. Boom! A flash of white smoke flashed, and an Obito who looked exactly like Obito, neither fat nor thin nor short, appeared next to Obito. Finally successful, Obito exclaimed with joy on his face. He can already imagine how nourishing the future life will be. Going to school as a shadow clone, doing the shadow clones to do the questions, working as a shadow clone, playing shadow clones with Lin. No, this needs to be done in the original body. That's great. Metkai silently removed his shadow clone whose skin was the same color as the rock. He also wants the shadow clone to go to school. From now on, you will go to school, and I will leave it to you to do the questions. Obito said to the shadow clone happily. However, the shadow clone gave Obito an unexpected answer. Why do you want me to go to school? The shadow clone asked. The question of the shadow clone stopped Obito. Obito thought for a while and replied, because you are my shadow clone. You are Obito Uchiha, and I am Obito Uchiha. Why can't you go to school and do the questions instead? The shadow clone said rationally. Because. Obito scratched his head, and for a moment he felt that what the shadow clone said made sense. Why don't I eat Teacher Muyu's food from now on? This way you can get delicious memories and don't have to worry about getting fat. The shadow clone suggested. I can also help you play with Xiaolin, so you have more time to practice. No, this is absolutely not possible. Obito waved his hands and shook his head wildly. Why do you, the shadow clone, only think about eating, drinking and having fun? Obito suddenly discovered a problem. Don't you also want to leave those annoying things to me and then eat, drink and have fun by yourself? The shadow clone said unceremoniously. Obito had nothing to say and directly removed the shadow clone technique. Teacher Muyu, haven't I learned the shadow clone technique yet? Obito asked in confusion. He felt that there was something wrong with his shadow clone. Muyu glanced at Obito with appraisal, and the shadow clone had already started. You have already learned it. You don't need to learn this ninjutsu anymore. Muyu replied. But I feel like I haven't learned it yet. There's something wrong with this shadow clone. Obito felt that he still had to learn. The thoughts of the shadow clone are the same as the original body. Muyu said euphemistically. The ninja world is huge and there are many talents. It's nothing for Obito to quarrel with the shadow clone. There will be another ninja who fights with the shadow clone in the future. Hey, then I'll start practicing breathing techniques. Obito showed an embarrassed smile, and he understood what Muyu meant. If the main body wants to be lazy, the clone also wants to be lazy. Obito's rating of the second Hokage dropped a bit in his mind. Although this ninjutsu was good, there were still many things that were not considered carefully. A fulfilling life always passes quickly, and the time quickly comes to the last day before school starts. Everyone should have a rest tomorrow. Those who want to play can go and play. Those who don't want to play can lie in the yard and think about life. After today, there won't be much rest time. Of course, if you really want to practice, you can come here. I will practice here, Muyu said. Xiaolin, let's go play together tomorrow. Obito chose to rest tomorrow. After all, Muyu strongly recommended rest. Yes, Nohara Lin nodded and agreed. After all, I had already declined once before, and it was the last day of school, so I could really relax. Then let's go find Kakashi together tomorrow morning and invite him to join us. Nohara Lin thought for a while and said. Obito's original joyful mood suddenly disappeared. He actually wanted the two of them to be together, but since Nohara Rin wanted to call Kakashi, Obito asked Metkai. Akai, do you want to play together? No, I have to practice rock breathing tomorrow. Metkai refused. From the shadow clone's learning, it is not difficult to see that now Metkai only has the breath of the rock in his mind. Where are you, Shisui? Obito looked at Shisui. You just have to have fun. My flame breathing progress is still far behind. I'm going to practice for a day tomorrow. Shisui replied. In the past, all kinds of Shisui training were ahead of the curve, but the breathing method was currently the worst for Shisui training. Although it was not far behind, there was a gap compared with before. He wanted to practice more time to catch up with Obito's progress. Obito's joy diminished a little. It feels like there are 4 people in the dormitory. On the weekend, one of them suggested going out to play, but only 2 people went out and the remaining 2 said they wanted to study in the dormitory. Is this still a practical way to have fun? It's just one day. One more day of practice won't accomplish anything. Obito said comfortingly. The next day, morning. Nohara Rin and Obito met at the designated place, and then the 2 of them headed to Kakashi's home. The 2 of them were lucky. Kakashi did not do any tasks today, but sat at home in a daze and thought about life. Kakashi, do you want to go out and play together? Nohara Rin asked with a smile. Obito and I will start school tomorrow, and we may not have much time after school starts. Isn't it quite leisure to go to ninja school? Kakashi asked doubtfully. He felt that he was not too leisurely when he went to school. That's because Kakashi, you are so awesome. Nohara Rin praised. Then let's go. Kakashi agreed. He had nothing to do today anyway. Seeing Kakashi agree, the corners of Obito's mouth that were about to raise dropped again. Kakashi, as a ninja, you can't do your tasks well and rest all day long. Obito lowered his head and complained softly. Obito, you are little. Boom. Before Nohara Rin could finish speaking, Obito, who couldn't watch the road well when walking, bumped into a telephone pole. Kakashi, can't you put this pole in a position where it won't be touched? This was the second time Obito hit it, and he felt that there was something wrong with the position of the pole. Kakashi, if there really is such a place, I will help you get your brain and eyes back first. Kakashi replied. He felt that Obito would not feel comfortable without being attacked. It was not him who decided the location of the telephone pole. Okay, don't argue. It won't hurt anymore if you rub it. Nohara Rin said softly, then walked to Obito and gently helped Obito with his hands to knead the place where he had just hit. How are you doing? Are you feeling better? Nohara Rin asked softly. Hey, Obito felt Nohara Rin's soft little hands and showed a satisfied smile. Although he didn't hear clearly what Nohara Rin asked, he still nodded. Then let's keep walking, Nohara Rin said with a smile. Kakashi, have you had breakfast? Nohara Rin thought of something and asked. Obito came with her, so she knew that Obito didn't eat either like her. Not yet. Kakashi shook his head. That's good. I recently heard that a delicious dumpling shop opened on the street. The 3-color dumplings in it are delicious, Nohara Rin explained. With Nohara Rin leading the way, the 3 of them went to the newly opened dumpling shop on the street. The 3 of them bought 1 portion each and 3 skewers each. It looks very good, Nohara Rin said looking at the round 3-color dumplings on the small plate. It's not as good as Teacher Mizuki's tempura, Obito commented after eating. You are the only one who can compare 2 completely different foods, Kakashi said after eating a small dumpling. Well, the red one is filled with red bean filling, which is very good, but I think the strawberry filling would be better, Nohara Rin said after taking a bite without being affected by Obito's words. Although Muyu's food is delicious, desserts and meals are 2 different things. Kakashi, can you briefly describe the life of an official ninja? Obito and I will graduate in 2 semesters, Nohara Rin asked curiously. Training, mission, Kakashi replied simply. You're too simplistic. What you said is the same as what you didn't say. Obito couldn't help but complain. Is there anything I need to pay attention to? Nohara Rin continued to ask without paying attention. Ninja, mission is above all else, mission completion comes first. Kakashi thought for a while and said. Kakashi, you feel like a mature adult, Nohara Rin joked. What mission is above all else? It must be your companions. If the mission fails, there is still a chance to make up for it. If your companions die, there is no way to resurrect them. Obito did not agree with Kakashi's philosophy. So you are still a student now, and I have already become a chunin, Kakashi said without mercy. You are too naive. Once some tasks fail, it will bring heavy losses to the village, which cannot be compared to one person's life or death. I will definitely become a better ninja than you in the future and prove it to you. Obito was very unconvinced but had no choice. He really doesn't have the capital to refute Kakashi now, because he is not even a ninja. Okay, you will definitely become very good ninjas in the future. Let's go shopping in the commercial street, Nohara Rin suggested. Then the 3 of them were basically led around by Nohara Rin. They even went to the forest for a picnic at noon. Obito suggested catching fish in the river and grilling it. Don't drown, the river doesn't look shallow, Kakashi reminded. Don't underestimate people, I have chakra. Obito held a wooden stick tied with kunai and stepped directly on the water. You can already tread water. Kakashi was a little surprised. Although he is still far away from him, Obito is indeed not the crane tail Obito he remembered before. Having mastered the changes in the nature of fire, the ninjutsu looks impressive, and now he has also mastered treading water. The fish was grilled by Kakashi. He has lived alone for a long time and has mastered many survival skills. Obito watched Nohara Rin praising Kakashi for doing a good job in grilled fish, and secretly vowed to learn cooking from Miyu when he had time. Only Kakashi didn't want to lose in any aspect. Azumo, how was your vacation? It's hard to say, I'm here for you, Ziti. Still playing games with my vicious cousin. How vicious? He actually ignored the peace agreement signed before and restarted that vicious plan. I have been told this by my parents several times. It's really vicious, but I'm not someone to be bullied. I pretended to accidentally knock off a leg and a hand of his favorite statuette of the third Hokage. As expected of you, Shenyu Izuyun gave Gangzati a thumbs up, thinking that you were more vicious. Where's Azumo? Why can't you say anything? Gangzati asked. Isn't there a girl next door that I had a crush on before? I wanted to get a good grade in the final exam and approach her again as a strong person. Then, was it successful? No, I thought about it for a few days, and then I started special summer training. I practiced every day and forgot about it. When I thought about it later, I found that she was playing with other boys. It's okay, maybe that's her relative. After hearing the result, Gangzati finally let go of his anxious heart, so he comforted her. It can't be relatives. Don't be relatives, Gangzati thought in his heart. Don't you two go out to play? Recently I found a new dumpling shop that is quite good. Hongdo interrupted. The two of them were not interested in the dumpling shop that Hongdo mentioned, unless Hongdo had a cute good sister who would go with them. By the way, I just looked at the class schedule and it seems that today is a physical arts class. Gangzati remembered something. I wonder who the new taijutsu teacher will be. Miyu had told them during the summer special training that their physical skills teacher would be changed, but she did not tell them who the new physical skills teacher would be. Everyone is good, but it's impossible to teach worse than Mr. Tanimura. Kamizuki Izumo said. After being taught taijutsu by Miyu during the summer special training, he even felt that Nihonhiro Tanimura had no idea what he was being taught when he was in school. I hope I can achieve 2/3 of teacher Miyu's level, then I will be very satisfied. Gangzati felt that his requirements were not high. Go to the playground and get ready for class. Miyu walked into the classroom and said. Could it be that you, Teacher Miyu, will be the physical arts teacher for this semester? Hongdu asked with excitement on his face. Yeah, Miyu smiled and nodded. Great, if there is special training during the next vacation, I will definitely be able to enter Group B. Gangzati cheered. His expectation was that 2/3 of Miyu would be enough, but Miyu himself far exceeded his expectations. The whole class was cheering. It was really good news for them that Miyu would become a physical arts teacher. Everyone, please be quiet, don't get too excited, and go practice first. Miyu said with a smile. Then Miyu brought the Year 1 class to the playground to practice. Feeling the long-lost relaxed class atmosphere, some students sighed. The vacation is too long. I missed taking Teacher Muyu's class a month ago. Yeah, and it's really not fun after a long vacation. I got very bored when I was on vacation for half a month. Listening to the discussions among their classmates, Gangzati and Shenyu Izumo couldn't help but feel that people's joys and sorrows were not connected to each other. Students like them who had gone through special summer training might only have half a month's vacation in total. Tanimura-sensei said before that taijutsu and ninjutsu are different and cannot be taught in detail. I don't think Miyu-sensei is very detailed. Because it was the first time to take another teacher's physical arts class, the students subconsciously compared Miyu with Tanimura Nihonhiro. Everyone practice seriously and we will discuss it after class. Miyu reminded gently. This semester, he is fully responsible for the first class, and Miyu will teach all theoretical taijutsu and ninjutsu. Miyu wants to create the absolute strongest class, which can not only gain the system's promotion rewards but also prove his value in teaching. If it was Tanimura Nihonhiro, they would practice and then refute, but it was Miyu who spoke, and everyone fell silent instantly, working hard to practice. Lecture completed. Evaluation. A. Reward. Painful foot. The training memories related to Pain Tianjiao flashed through Miyu's mind. He remembered that this was Tsunade's taijutsu, which was very simple and unpretentious. It mainly focused on flying bricks with great force, and could crack the ground with one kick. However, this seemingly simple physical technique is actually not simple. It requires special chakra burst skills. This technique can greatly increase strength and can be called strange power. The reward is not bad. I have mastered one more chakra technique, and I can also pass it on to Nohara Lin. Although it is a taijutsu, it is not suitable for Metkai because this technique tests the level of chakra control and requires precise manipulation of chakra. The theory class in the afternoon is a big class. It will be held in the large lecture hall where the meeting is held. Yu reminded before leaving. Big class. What big class? The students were a little confused. They noticed that the theory class on the class schedule had a classroom marked to go to, but they didn't know why it was like this. The theory class in the afternoon will be held by 4 classes together, and there will also be students from classes 2, 3 and 4. Yu explained. With so many people attending class together, wouldn't it be very lively? It feels good to have students. Isn't this the same as during the special training? Shenyu Izumo felt a little familiar. Yu didn't explain too much. In fact, it was just 4 classes taking classes together, so there was nothing special about it. This kind of large class tests students' self-control even more, because there are too many people and the teacher can't handle it, and it's impossible to pay attention to everyone at the same time. Of course, that was the world before Yu. It was different here. The teacher was a ninja and a Superman. Yu didn't know what other teachers thought. He felt that the theory class would not be too difficult to manage. Ziti, Izumo, what is the special training you are talking about? Why do you feel that you have become so much stronger? After class, some students who were familiar with the steel god Tasuki Izumo asked. There are 2 exams in 1 semester, and they study together every day. As classmates, they are familiar with each other's strengths. Gang Ziti and Shenyu Izumo have made great progress, so they can easily notice it. During the previous vacation, Teacher Muyu organized a special summer training and led us to train with a group of 4th grade students for 5 weeks. Gang Ziti explained. There are basically 4th grade students there. Only 8 people from other grades like us can go there. When he said this, Gang Ziti raised his head slightly. Although his actual scores are not among the top 3 in his class, he can be among the top 8 in his grade. Some people expressed envy, while others felt that it was too tiring. They had just had 5 weeks of special training after the holiday, and school was about to start not long after the special training ended. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.